As a premier community in Hampton Roads, James City County strives to maintain a high quality of life for all citizens through sound fiscal management and legislative actions. In an ongoing effort to increase transparency, your Board of Supervisors holds public meetings to garner citizen input before making important decisions. Here is tonight's meeting agenda. Stay tuned. The Board of Supervisors meeting will begin shortly.
Call this meeting of the James City County Board of Supervisors to order for the purpose of our regular meeting. And let me explain that tonight we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to have the first part of our agenda with some presentations and proclamation. And then we'll take a brief recess to allow the James City Service Authority to handle their agenda before we go back to the Board of Supervisors meeting. So with that, Mr. Stevens. Sorry. I won't repeat all of that other than to say that we'll have a slightly different order tonight. We're going to go through the first part of the Board of Supervisors meeting with presentations, and then we will take a brief recess so the James City Service Authority can conduct its short agenda, and then we'll move back into the Board of Supervisors meeting. So with that, Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Wainwright?
Here.
Ms. Wainwright represents the Powhatan District. Ms. Knoll?
Present.
Ms. Knoll represents the Stonehouse District. Mr. Eisenhower?
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower represents the Jamestown District. Ms. Larson?
Here.
Ms. Larson represents the Berkeley District and is Vice Chair of the Board. Mr. McGlennon?
Here.
Mr. McGlennon represents the Roberts District and is Chair of the Board. Sitting to my far left is Adam Kinsman, County Attorney. I'm Scott Stevens, County Administrator, and my pleasure to be Clerk to the Board. All present.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. We begin our meetings with a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by a member of the community. This afternoon, our pledge leader is Devin Bobowitz, and he is a student or a resident of the Berkeley District, so I'll turn it over to Supervisor Larson to introduce him.
Thank you. Devin, if you want to come on up to the podium and I'll introduce you while you're making your way. Dev is a huge Philadelphia Phillies and Eagles fan. He is also a huge Weeman Mary Tribe fan. Go Tribe.
Go Tribe.
When not checking on scores on any and all sports, Dev likes to walk the family dogs, Bruno and Harry, ride his bicycle, play buddy ball at War Hill Fields in the spring and fall. His favorite color is Kelly green for the Eagles. His favorite food, Philly cheesesteak. I'm seeing a pattern here, Dev. His hobbies are playing sports, baseball, basketball, spending times with his friends, his best buddy through Women Mary, and his little cousins, Sadie and Quincy. Dev's father, Scott, works for the JCSA Housing Office under the Department of Social Services. So if you'll just have a moment of silence and then begin the pledge. Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation
Thank you.
And Devin, would you come up and
Deb,
Yeah,
we want to take a picture, John. The
Okay.
board can come down.
we're gonna.
Okay.
Put you right in the middle.
Thank you. All right. Perfect.
And now I'd invite Pam McGregor up to give a presentation on behalf of the ARC.
Good evening. As Mr. Chair McGlennon said, I'm Pam McGregor. I'm the Executive Director for the Arc of Greater Williamsburg. We are absolutely delighted to be here tonight. Let me begin by saying thank you to County Administrator Scott Stevens, Chair McGlennon, Vice Chair Larson, and members Mr. Eisenhower, Ms. Knoll, and Ms. Wainwright. We are honored to be here, but more importantly, we have the opportunity to say thank you in person for all that you do to serve our community. So thank you very much. For anyone who is not familiar with the ARC, we are one of 600 ARC chapters in the country affiliated with the ARC of the United States and the ARC of Virginia. Our advocacy chapter has proudly served adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in this community since 1976. Quick math will tell you we are in our 50th anniversary year. It's a very special year this year for the ARC. Our tagline, "The ARC is there when the school bus stops coming," helps to denote whom we serve as our clients age out of special education at age 21. Tonight, we would like to shine the light on our day program, Arc of Abilities. This incredible program was founded in 2016, and thanks to James City County Parks and Rec, we have been able to use the Abram Frink Jr. Community Center all of this time. At the time, we were told we would have 6 weeks to use the space and needed to find another home. I very wisely invited several of you to come and see our day program in action. And I'm not embarrassed to say that many of us stood with tears in our eyes and agreed that we should have done this 20 years sooner. So thank you for these several years, 10 years of being at that amazing space. But what we always knew was that this was a temporary home. And so we started to act on our vision to find a place that would accommodate not only our day program, but our evening programs and our employment program. We serve over 250 families in this community. We have some special thanks for all of you. This is some of my friends behind me. This is the ARC, so clients have cards and thank yous for you that they're going to pass out. I would be remiss to not mention our amazing instructors, Lisa Steele and Carol Hoffmeyer. Go ahead and... So show them, okay? So by way of saying thank you, this past summer, the ARC launched a capital campaign, and thanks to this community, we were able to purchase a 10,000 square foot building in McLaws Circle. Our administrative staff has moved into our new home, and once minor renovations are completed, we will move our day program over to our forever home. This space will accommodate our ARC programming and allow for more capacity for our vocational training program. In closing, thank you. We could not have done this without you. We will have an official ribbon cutting on May 21st. You will all be invited. I think you've been to a few of those, but of course this will be especially special for us. And you will receive a special invitation. You want to turn your banner, oh, you're showing everybody? So again, thank you for your service, and thank you for being such a special part of the ARC. And just real quick, other thank yous that have to be mentioned: Adam Kinsman, Tracy Newsom, John Carnifax, Arlena Fauntleroy, all people that have put their arms around this organization and made such a difference. And we cannot say thank you enough. Have a good evening.
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to stay up here.
Okay.
Nation to Commendation, honoring Lisa Steele upon her retirement for her service in the community. Whereas the James City County Board of Supervisors wishes to recognize and commend outstanding individuals whose dedication and service have positively impacted the community, and whereas Lisa Steele has devoted her professional life to education and service, earning her Bachelor's of Arts degree at Christopher Newport College and her Master's degree at the College of William and Mary. And whereas Lisa Steele began her distinguished career in 1984 with Newport News Public Schools, dedicating 30 years to shaping the lives of young students. And whereas she served at Knollwood Elementary School, a school with special meaning to her, as she once attended it as a child, demonstrating her commitment to her community. Whereas since 2014, Ms. Steele has continued her service in James City County within the nonprofit profit sector, including the past 10 years as lead instructor for the day programs Arc of Abilities at the Arc of Greater Williamsburg. And whereas through her leadership and compassion, she has enriched the lives of individuals with disabilities, fostering independence, confidence, and meaningful engagement in the community. And whereas after a long and impactful career, Ms. Steele now looks forward to a well-earned retirement with plans to travel and explore the national beauty of the nation's treasured national parks. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, as Chairman of the Board of Supervisors of James City County, Virginia, do hereby express our sincere appreciation to Lisa Steele for her many years of exemplary service and dedication to education and community enrichment. Be it further resolved that the Board of Supervisors extends its best wishes to her for her fulfilling and joyful retirement, filled with travel, discovery, and continued inspiration. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the County of James City, Virginia, to be affixed on this 14th day of April, 2026. Lisa, could you come forward, please? And
Thank you very much. It's been my honor and privilege to work with these special adults and with the Arc of Greater Williamsburg, as well as to have been in public school for 30 years. And I just really appreciate this honor very much. And thank you all for being here.
us for a photograph.
Come on up.
Come on, guys.
Do you want the board, John? You want the board? Yeah. Oh, yeah, great idea. Here, I'll grab that one. It was probably for John.
Thank you very much. Pass it down. Oh, we can get a little bit closer together. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
It's your pleasure.
Your mom?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we'll keep it. Unless y'all want to repurpose them. It's a, well, we'll keep that one. How's that? All right.
We have one more presentation this evening. And Sandy, our director of the Williamsburg Regional Library.
Woo!
Sandy, we want to take this opportunity to proclaim in James City County National Library Week, which will be April 19th to 25th. And we have a resolution. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. And whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that individuals, regardless of their background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. And whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. And whereas libraries protect the right to read, think, and explore without censorship, standing as champions of intellectual freedom and expression. And whereas dedicated librarians and library workers provide welcoming spaces that inspire discovery, collaboration, and creativity. And whereas librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, Find Your Joy. Now therefore be it resolved that I, as Chairman of the Board of Supervisors of James City County, do hereby proclaim April 19th to 25th, 2026, National Library Week in James City County. During this week, we encourage all residents to visit our library, explore resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps communities find joy. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the County of James City, Virginia, to be affixed on this 14th day of 2026. Sandy, this is our proclamation, and thank you for all the great work that you and everybody connected to the Williamsburg Regional Library do for our community.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. That was a lot of really nice words that you said, Dr. McLennan. I appreciate that, but it is a pleasure to serve as the library director and to serve a community that values its library services. Really appreciate the community support, the jurisdictional support as well. So the Williamsburg Regional Library has been serving the community since 1909, and as a regional system, next year will be our 100th year of celebrating regional library system. So really excited about that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you.
Steps in, right?
That's all right.
Back and forth.
now recess to allow the James City Services Authority to hold its meeting.
I now call to order the James City Service Authority Board of Directors regular meeting. Mr. Powell, call the roll, please.
Ms. Wainwright.
Here.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Here.
Ms. Larson.
Here.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Here.
Ms. Knoll.
Any presentations, sir?
No presentations tonight.
Okay, public comment, do you have
No,
speaker cards?
no public comment cards either.
On the consent calendar, may I have a motion to approve the following items? A contract award of $125,594 for Lift Station 6-2 Pump and Motor Package Replacement by Smith and Lovelace Incorporated. And number 2, to adopt the minutes from the last meeting.
Move the adoption of the consent calendar.
Ms. Wainwright.
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower.
Aye.
Ms. Larson.
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan.
Aye.
Ms. Knoll.
Aye. Public hearings, our first public hearing on fiscal year 2027, James City Service Authority budget. Mr. Powell.
Madam Chair, members of the board, it's my pleasure to present the fiscal year 27 proposed James City Service Authority budget. For the benefit of the viewing audience, just a few background items. JCSA is the water and wastewater collection provider for James City County. We are solely reliant on the fees and charges that are paid by our customers. We do not receive any funding from the property tax or the county in general. Fiscal year 27 is the first year of a 2-year budget. The board will adopt the fiscal year 27 budget and will adopt the fiscal year 28 budget for planning purposes only. And just thought I should note again for the viewing audience, JCSA is an independent organization that's governed by a board of directors. Those board of directors are comprised of the members of the Board of Supervisors. Before I get into the budget details, I just wanted to mention the strategic plan briefly. In February, the board adopted a 5-year strategic plan. It's the first strategic plan that the JCSA has had since we've become an independent organization. The proposed budget is based on the 5 goals that are established in the plan. Those 5 goals are to address water supply constraints, to ensure wastewater system growth and adaptability, to maintain a positive customer experience, to attract, develop, and retain talent, and to continue transition to independence. This slide gives a high-level overview of the JCSA budget. You can see the middle column there is the fiscal year 27 proposed budget. Our budget is divided into 2 funds, a water fund and a sewer fund. The proposed budget for fiscal year 27 is right around $29.4 million, which is actually a very slight decrease from last year's budget. And the fiscal year 28 planned budget is proposed for $31 million. We have 107 full-time employees and 1 part-time. This slide gives a little bit more detail into the budget. You can see on the left side revenue, those first 2 lines, water and sewer service revenue, those are the revenues that come in from the monthly bills that our customers pay. The water and sewer facility fees are paid by developers. And again, as you can see, the vast majority of our revenue is from those fees. We do also have some income from interest, and we are proposing some use of unrestricted net position in this year's budget. On the expense side, our primary expense is personnel, comprises about 40% of our overall budget. And then our second biggest expense is the non-personnel operating, followed by a CIP of a little over $5 million and about $2 million in debt service. So I mentioned that the budget is tied to the 5 goals of the strategic plan. I just thought I would very briefly go through those 5 goals and mention a couple of initiatives under each one that supports the strategic plan. So the first goal was address water supply constraints. Probably our biggest item supporting that goal this year is the Kings Point project, where we're replacing 20,000 feet of 1960s water main. We've been experiencing a lot of breaks in that neighborhood, and construction on that project should start in about a year. Total cost is $7.5 million. There's also money proposed in the budget for a study to locate a new elevated storage tank. And then the last 2 items on this slide are a nod to the fact that about 25% of our overall water demand is for irrigation, and we're attempting to try to reduce that. So these are a couple of initiatives. One we're calling Time Your Tap, which is trying to encourage people to irrigate less time in each one of their irrigation zones. And then we also have included we have added a smart irrigation controller to our existing rebate program. The second goal was to ensure wastewater system growth and adaptability. We have ongoing significant yearly budgeted expenses to continue our maintenance activities that we're required to do under the consent order. One of the key pieces of equipment we need to do that is a camera van. Our camera van's at the end of its useful life, so we're proposing to replace that at a cost of about $500,000. We prioritize a handful of pump station improvements every year. We have 78 pump stations, and so every year we try to prioritize which ones we need to upgrade to ensure as long a lifespan for those facilities as possible. And then finally, we received a grant for replacement of 3,200 feet of clay sewer pipe in the Toano area. Third goal was to maintain a positive customer experience. We have proposed funds in this year to continue the advanced metering infrastructure project. That project includes putting data collectors on towers so that we can read the meters virtually that way. And ultimately, when completed, and we're a long ways away from completing that project, but once completed, the meter readers would no longer need to drive by the meters to get the readings. We'd be able to simply do it all remotely. The other advantage of this initiative is that when fully completed, customers will have the ability to monitor their usage in a real-time basis. And so our hope is that in doing so, that will also encourage conservation. And then the other item, a rate stabilization reserve fund. The board started that last year, and we are proposing to contribute additional funds to that fund this year. Attract, develop, and retain talent. We converted to a step pay system last year, so that entails an annual cost of living increase every year, which is proposed to be 2.7% effective July 2026. And then it also includes a 1.5 step increase annually, and that's proposed to go into effect January 1st, 2027. We've also continued to fund the program that we started last year to give 5% annual increases for the first 4 years of service to try to reduce the amount of turnover that we were experiencing with new employees. And then last, the continued transition to independence. This simply is just assuming some of the support services that the county has been providing to us. We're going to assume some of those this year and some additional services in FY28. And then we also will be master planning the Tuning Road complex for when General Services moves out. So now I want to move to rates. Our rates, we have this slide right here is for the water rates. And the rates, we have a fixed charge and we have a volumetric charge. So the top row there is the charge for the fixed charge for a 5/8 inch meter, which the vast majority of residential customers have a 5/8 inch meter. You can see the fixed charge this year is $9.02. It's proposed to go to $10.52 for FY27. And then I've also included the proposed or projected rates for 28, 29, and 30 that are all in accordance with the 5-year rate study that you approved last year. And then the bottom chart is the volumetric charge. I think as most people know, we have a tiered system, and the more water you use, the higher the rate. And I'm not going to read all of those numbers on that chart, but if you just go to tier 1, which is 0 to 4,000 gallons, you can see the volumetric charge is proposed to increase from $4.45 to $4.72 per 1,000 gallons. This slide shows the proposed sewer rates. Similar to the water rates, there's a fixed charge and a volumetric charge. You can see the fixed charge is proposed to go from $4.51 to $6.01, and the volumetric rate is proposed to stay the same at $3.14. So what does all this mean? This chart shows the combined impacts of the proposed rate increases. For the average single-family bill, which we define as 5,000 gallons a month, for the average single-family bill, the bill would go up $4.56 for fiscal year 27. And as you can see, the board guidance last year was to do equal or as close to equal as possible rate increases over a 5-year period. And this, yes, ma'am, yeah, per month. And this final slide is shows the JCSA rates compared to the other jurisdictions in our region. Currently, we are the third lowest in the region, and if the proposed rate increases are adopted, we would remain the third lowest in the region. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
For staff? No? We'll open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers?
No, ma'am.
No? Then we'll close the public hearing, and we'll take no action on this evening. Number 2, abandonment and conveyance of easement, 112 The Colony and 132 The Colony. Mr. Howell?
JCSA currently owns an easement along the property line between 112 The Colony and 132 The Colony. This easement was established in the mid-1970s to allow the necessary piping for a dual grinder pump to convey wastewater to the JCSA collection system. As you know, dual grinder pumps present some significant legal and logistical issues that the JCSA has been trying to remediate. We have an opportunity to remediate it at this particular site, and staff recommends approval of the resolution, which would abandon the easement along the property line between 112 The Colony and 132 The Colony, and then grant me the authority to convey the remaining rights in the easement to the owner of 112 The Colony.
Questions for staff?
No, I had reached out just to ask if you had spoken with the property owners.
Yes, ma'am. We have worked extensively with the owner at 112 The Colony, who we will be conveying the easement to, and that owner is very much eager to see this move forward. The owner of 132 The Colony, we did reach out. We sent a certified letter letting them know what our plan was. I also sent, I did not hear back. I also sent an email, email address that had been provided to me for the owner, and I did not hear back from the email either.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll open the public hearing. Do we have any speakers? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Look to the board for discussion or a motion.
Move the adoption of the resolution.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
And Ms. Knoll?
Aye. No board considerations, board
Ma'am.
requests and directives? No. For update,
I have
please.
no further update this evening.
No updates, nothing, okay. So may I have a motion to adjourn to 1 PM on April 28th for the budget business meeting?
So moved. I'll move the adjournment.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Bring the Board of Supervisors back into session, and we'll now move on to public comment. Let me first mention that we do have a public hearing advertised later this evening for Westwood Park rezoning. The applicant has requested a deferral of that to a later time, probably our May meeting, and as a result, we will not be making a determination on that case this evening. If anyone is here to speak on that case tonight and wishes to do so, they may. We will be keeping the public hearing open until that May meeting, but if you speak tonight, you would not be able to speak at the May meeting when you would have the advantage of the full application of the proposer. So with that, I'll ask if there is any indication anybody has, no, okay, all right. So for public comment, we'll begin with Peg Borman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Nice to see you,
Members
Ms.
of the
Borman.
board, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Kinsman, Ms. Dahlman, Mr. Purse, and Mr. Reinheimer, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And first of all, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for the prayers, the texts, the calls that I received, the cards, and the thoughts that you sent to me while I was in the hospital. I appreciate it very, very much, and it made my stay there a lot more pleasant. I'm here again to talk trash. Our annual litter cleanup campaign will be on April 25th of this year. There's still time for everybody to get into and get involved by going to the website, countyva.gov/3512, or you can call 757-259-5375 to get more information. That's Regina at the office. We've got the Grove Park out in Roberts District that we know we're cleaning up. And we have Chickahominy Park that's going to be cleaned up out in the Stonehouse, Powhatan area. And I don't have to remind you that all these started in 1979 and have continued since then. So let's all get involved to clean up James City County before the 250th celebration starts, and even if it's just around your front door, because sometimes that front door is kind of messy. But that's a step in the right direction. We did the litter index back on March the 6th, but we don't have all the results in for that yet. And our Great American Cleanup was March the 27th and 28th. We had over 4,000 pounds of litter picked up and cleaned up around the Ironbound Village off on Ironbound Road. And there was a lot of invasive vines that were cleaned out and destroyed, and all this work was done in one day with over 30 people involved. We hope to be at the Croker Library on April the 25th on their opening day. So come out and see us there. We hope to have a table there. And I suggested if you want to get involved with any of these events, just call the office or go to the website and let us know. Because there's always litter out there. It's waiting for us to pick it up and put it in its place, the trash can. Do your part, and thank you for my time today.
Thank you very much. Haley Logan? Thank you. Casey Savanda? If you would simply state your name and address for the record.
Casey Swanda, and I live in Richmond, Virginia. Yep. So I'm Casey Swanda. I'm the Director of Endurance Events for the National MS Society. We host Bike MS Colonial Crossroads annually the weekend after Memorial Day, and this year it's happening May 30th and 31st. Chickahominy Riverfront Park is a hub of our activities. It acts as our start-finish line on Saturday and Sunday, where cyclists are riding from Richmond to Williamsburg and back the next day, or starting out of Chickahominy Riverfront Park and riding back to Richmond or around Williamsburg. This event raises funds for the National MS Society. Our mission is to cure MS while empowering people to live their best lives with MS. Our goal is to reach about 500 cyclists for this event, and we raise about $650,000 annually. Our request is to play music and announcements beginning at 7:15 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday of the event. This will be located towards the front of the park near the playground and shelter at Chickahominy Riverfront Park, and speakers will be facing Route 5 and the river. Additionally, many of the campground spots, including 2 group sites, are reserved by our cyclists for the event, and we anticipate minimal disruption from noise for those that are not part of the event staying at the campground. So we would like your support in granting this exception to help us create an exceptional start line experience for our cyclists who are riding upwards of 75 miles each day as we hope for a cure for MS. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Wayne Savage?
Good evening, everyone. Wayne Savage. I'm with Soils Inc. I'm representing a project that you're going to hear later on tonight. It's for consideration. It's not part of the public hearing. So I was told I need to speak here. So I'll be here for questions afterwards. Just a few things to note on that project. This is for 190 Jolly Pond Road. It's a direct discharge permit application that we have submitted and received approval and permitting from the Health Department and from DEQ. The property in question has had basically a failing system for the better part of 2 or 3 years now. Really, the Logans have had problems really since they moved in, which I believe was 2021. But basically, the system was installed in a water table. Really, we evaluated the soil there, and it's in a water table. It's in heavy clay soils. It was undersized, underdesigned, just not proper. And after our evaluation of the property, we discovered that there really was no solution for another type of drain field there, which is why we requested the denial permit from the Health Department, which was received and approved and issued. And then we went forward with the direct discharge application, which has also been reviewed, received, and approved, and permit issued. So we are here tonight, believed to get your concurrence with those approvals so we can proceed forward. The Logans, I know at a minimum, I have been working with them for about a year now, I think, maybe a little longer. So they have basically had no septic system to speak of since then. So we are asking for approval so we can get them into compliance. They have been out of compliance for quite a while. So that's why we are here tonight. Again, I'm here for questions when we get to that in the consideration time, but I was told I need to speak now, so here I am. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. David Logan?
Hard to follow that one, guys. Mr. Chairman, thank you. Members of the board, fellow residents, thank you for hearing me. I am here tonight to speak to the previous topic.
And if
I'm
you
here
just
for-
state your name and address.
Yep, David Logan, 190 Jolly Pond Road. So I'm just here respectfully requesting your consideration and approval for a septic system, please. That's all. I'm here for questions. I'll remain until the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Donnie McDaniel?
Good afternoon, everyone. Donnie McDaniel, Executive Director, Community of Faith Mission, 1781 Jamestown Road. This will be the last time you get to see me for a few months, so I'll give you some reprieve, and then I'll come back at you again. I did hand this. I didn't know if you had an opportunity or not. I just wanted to give you a little bit of the highlights for this season. We are an emergency shelter program for people experiencing homelessness. Our season ended on March the 15th. And we are set up as an emergency shelter program, not a year-round program. We serviced 121 different unique individuals, and out of those, 41% were females. 41 were females, 80 were males. We had 7% of our guests were veterans. And then just people may not realize, people may have a vision of homelessness, but 44% of our guests were actually either employed or getting government benefits. We had over 2,800 guest stays. So with that, we are so blessed to have so many volunteers to help us. And we had clocked in over 10,000 volunteer hours with almost 1,500 volunteers. So that's pretty commendable for James City County, City of Williamsburg, and York County. Also, the other thing is we had a new program called Heads Up, and that was something that was started because one of the agencies stopped their housing program. So this was to help people to get housing or to get diverted. Sometimes, as you know, people come here thinking Williamsburg and James City County is such a wonderful place to be, which it is, but it's not the most economical at times. And so people come without a job, without anything, and then they're like, oh, I wish I could get back home. So we help them to get back home. So to do that, we had, out of the 121 people, we deemed that there were 24 that were candidates for our Heads Up program, either for housing or diversion. 5 of them we were able to divert back to family. 1 was going back so he could be a dad. So that was pretty cool. 1 was going back to, she was ill, and so her grandma was able to take care of her. And so 4 of them were presented to have housing. 4 were transferred to other type of housing programs. 11 were removed from the program because they either chose not to follow through or they changed their mind. We actually had 1 that we were able to house. They already moved into their housing. We have 1 that's just waiting for the approval, and then 2 are still in hotels waiting for rapid rehousing. None of this could be done, of course, without collaboration. And that collaboration is from James City County Housing, City of Williamsburg, York County Housing, the House of Mercy, United Way, Fish Salvation Army, and Old Town Medical Center. Together, you help us either with funding, providing medical care, things like that. Also with funding, we could not do this without it. And I want to thank you. I've come up here and talked to you about funding and things like that. So you did approve some funding. Of course, it's never as much as we want, but it was more than we've gotten. So we thank you so much for that. We also got additional grants from others, and we have a lot of faithful donors. So we're looking forward to season 15, but I want to thank you again for your support and for caring about us. And again, thank you for the community award that you gave. I had 2 meetings today, and both meetings brought that up. So it was definitely noticed by the community. So I want to thank you for that also.
Thank you very much. Chris Henderson?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. I would like to renew my call, as I do each and every time we are together, to start your meetings later in the evening so that working people can attend more easily than at 5 p.m. I was delighted to report I only had to wait through 3 cycles at the Jamestown Road 199 intersection this afternoon, as opposed to its usual 4 or 5. So we have a significant problem there, and it takes me about 30 minutes to get here from Ford's Colony at that time of the day. I'd also like to request that the board begin its meetings with an invocation done by one of the members of our local clergy. Be an excellent opportunity for them to have an opportunity to be known in the community and to offer guidance and prayer for the board, the county, and for the citizens in attendance and viewing. I'd like to thank the county administrator and Ms. McCaskey, our finance director, for their excellent presentation last week regarding the budget. I was able to ask lots of questions regarding the proposed budget, and hopefully we'll hear some more of those details tonight for the few items that were not able to be addressed at that time. We have a 250-year celebration coming up. I haven't heard much about what's going on, and it would be great to hear more about the Kool and the Gang concert and the things that are planned. I think that concert is April the 18th, so it's coming up soon, so I got to get my ticket. And there's also some sort of fireworks or drone display, I think is what will be. And so I want to encourage fellow citizens to participate and attend that event. I would also like to ask that the hours of the enforcement of the school zone speed limit be posted. It seems that there is some variation in those time frames, and I go through the speed zones frequently, and if the times were posted that said, Chris, look out between 7 and 9 and 2 and 4, that'd be great, because it varies kind of from day to day when I go through the various intersections. So I know that other jurisdictions have done that so that citizens would be aware by the posting of a sign so that they can plan it into their schedule and know from 7 to 9, you're going to get a ticket if you're more than X miles over the speed limit, and to slow down. I think that would be very helpful for folks. I'd also like to reiterate the request that I made last month during your JCSA board meeting to name the headquarters after Larry Foster. I know it's not appropriate for this body, but it is something that you as directors of that have the ability to do, and I think sooner rather than later would be appropriate, particularly as they look to do master planning with regard to the new general services facility that is proposed. I would also like to request that the speed limit through Norge be reduced to 35. I have a property up there and I'm constantly going in and out, and folks are moving at 55 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone, and there's driveways there every 50 feet. So it becomes perilous for those of us who are trying to traverse that area, and it's getting congested enough that some accidents could occur. I'd also like to see the staff initiate a land use and zoning study in the Norge area to support consolidated mixed-use development and economic development in that area. There's some real opportunity there, but it's going to, I guess it will need some county input to promote and make that happen, but I think there's some real opportunity to do that. And I'd also like to request that the county form a task force of small business owners and planning staff to review James City County zoning and development ordinances with the goal of reducing impediments to the location and operation of small businesses in James City County. And my final request is to begin a beautification study of Route 199 and Monticello to see if we can improve our appearance. Thank you.
That's the last of our speaker cards for public comment. We have no items on our consent calendar this evening, so we'll move on to public hearings. And let me recognize Frank Polster, who is representing the Planning Commission this evening. Mr. Polster, thank you for being here to comment on the Planning Commission's actions on the cases we'll be looking at. Our first public hearing is on the proposed real property tax increase. And Mr. Stevens, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce this topic.
Well, thank you, Chair McGlennon. Sharon McCarthy's come forward. She's going to do our presentation this evening. She's our Finance and Management Services Director. I do want to share that I've asked her to provide the staff presentation for the first three public hearings in one presentation, as they are all part or related to our FY 2027 budget discussion. Following her presentation, we would go back to each individual public hearing, the one on the tax increase, the one on meals tax increase, and the one on the proposed budget, provide a short summary, and allow you to conduct the public hearing in that time. So no action is required on any of these three public hearings this evening, and then depending on your direction during the budget discussion, we hope you would consider these items at your May 12th meeting for action. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. McCarthy.
Evening, Ms. McCarthy.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Board of Supervisors. The county prepares a two-year budget, with the first year being the only year that's actually appropriated for spending, and the second year is to provide a 24-month perspective to help with decision-making. The county recently updated its strategic plan in 2025, and this budget aligns with the 8 goals contained therein. The total fiscal year 2027 proposed budget is $413.1 million, which is the total for all 8 funds. The general fund portion, which is the county's operating fund, is $281.1 million, which is an increase of 6.8% over the current year's budget. This total reflects a proposed real estate tax reduction of 3 cents and an increase in the meals tax rate from 4% to 6%. It provides $4.3 million in additional funding for school operations. It supports several county and school capital projects, and it strives to remain competitive in the labor market by providing certain personnel adjustments, including a 4% raise. There are no new positions proposed in this budget. I mentioned earlier that the total budget includes 8 different funds, and this is a summary of those funds. The largest fund, again, is our operating fund, referred to as our general fund, followed by our capital projects fund. The total figures at the bottom is a figure that fluctuates greatly from one year to the next, typically because capital projects are included and those projects change each year. For example, we do not build fire stations or schools every year, and so when one is included, it could greatly increase that total budget number. Focusing on the county's operating revenue sources, general property taxes, which includes real estate and personal property taxes, remains our largest funding source, representing about 2/3 of our general fund budget. Of the increase in this category, the real estate reassessment is reflected, as are a few other factors, including a $3.1 million tax classification change for a taxpayer who had previously been taxed in a different category. It also includes an estimate for new construction. The revenue has been reduced to reflect a proposed real estate tax reduction of 3 cents from 83 cents per 100 of assessed value to 80 cents. Other local taxes includes the proposed meals tax rate change from 4% to 6%. This tax is also borne by visitors that dine in our restaurants and attractions such as Busch Gardens. As previously mentioned, the proposed budget reflects a reduction of 3 cents in the real estate tax rate. Each penny on the tax rate equates to $1,825,000, so 3 cents equals about $5.5 million. This chart provides trends on the past 7 reassessment cycles. Again, our reassessments are every 2 years, and it shows the recent trend has not been the norm. This, of course, is not unique to James City County or even Virginia. It is a nationwide trend. For the 2027 reassessment, the overall values increased by 10.31%. The proposed real estate tax rate reduction of 3 cents brings the effective increase down to about 7.4%. As part of the proposal to increase the meals tax, we reviewed the surrounding peninsula localities, and this chart provides their rates. York and James City County are the only two at 4%, and both jurisdictions are proposing the same increase. This brings the 3 peninsula counties in alignment, but below that of our neighboring cities. Switching to the expenditure side of the budget, public safety, the public school system, and transfers to other funds comprise the largest portions of our budget. The school construction increase is school contribution increase is in accordance with the revised contract. The transfers to other funds increase is for debt services and increases to several other funds, including social services, housing, and the health and dental funds, where they've used their accumulated reserves to help balance their previous budgets. Moving to the county and school capital needs, presented as a summary of the proposed projects by department over the next 5 years. And looking at the totals again, you can see the volatility of these figures as, again, capital needs can fluctuate from one year to another. For example, in fiscal year 2027, the total capital projects is $132.4 million, but in 2030, it's reduced down to $31.8. Finally, I wanted to mention there's 2 additional public meetings on the budget and the tax rates. The next meeting is on April 28th at 1 p.m., and the second meeting is on May the 12th at 5 p.m. with the planned adoption. Both will be held in this room. That concludes my remarks, Chair. At your discretion, I can introduce the first of the 3 separate public hearings on the tax rates and the budget.
Thank you very much, Ms. McCarthy. Would the board like to ask some questions now, or would you rather go through them one by one?
Or she can continue.
Okay. Why don't we move on to the first item then?
The purpose of this public hearing is to invite public comment on the increase in the on the real estate property tax levies based upon the most recent general reassessment. The assessed value of real property, excluding assessments due to new construction or improvements to property, exceeds last year's total assessed value of property by 10.31%. The tax rate, which would levy the same amount of real estate taxes last year when multiplied by the new total assessed value of real estate with the exclusions noted above, would be $74.44 per $100 of assessed value. This rate is known as the lowered tax rate. The county is proposing a proposed tax rate of 80 cents per $100 of assessed value. The difference between the lowered rate and the proposed rate is 5.56 per 100, or 7.47%. That difference is known as the effective tax rate increase. It's important to note that individual property taxes may, however, increase at a percentage greater than or less than that above percentage. Chair, no action is required of the board at this meeting.
Thank you, Ms. McCarthy. Anybody have any questions for Ms. McCarthy on this item? Seeing none from the board, let's go ahead and I'll open the public hearing. And we will start with looks like Sheila Chandler. Is that right? Sheila Chandler?
name is Sheila Chandler. I live at 7900 Newman Road. We have Chandler Farm.
Might want to just move the microphone a little bit closer to you.
My name is Sheila Chandler. I live at 7900 Newman Road with my husband, and we have the Chandler Farm on Newman Road. And my question today is, when was the last assessment of the property?
We don't typically, go ahead.
Okay, that's fine.
We don't typically.
These are just questions.
The answer is we do assessments every 2 years.
Every 2 years?
Yes.
Okay. It was just a little concerning because we own actually 4 properties on Newman Road, and each one of them had quite a difference in what the rate will be for 2027. For instance, one went up 23.2%. And I understand this is the assessment of the land, and we love the land. It's over 100 years old. We're not planning on selling it. So when we see these tax increases, I know it's dropped to 80 instead of 83 cents, and it is the assessment. It's just quite alarming. That was 23.2%. The next property, still ours, 38.1%. This is all the assessments going up. The next one was 40.1%. And the next one was 122.3%. And, you know, that's a little heart-wrenching there when it's all the same property, basically. And one person, when I asked a question, they said, oh, it's because of the, you know, you've got road frontage on that one that went up 128%. Our whole farm has road frontage. It's Newman Road. Wexford Hills on one side, our farm's on the other. And I just want some clarification to that. How did all these 4 properties on the same road come up with such different assessments? And I know you're not answering questions, I understand that, but this is something that I've not just heard from our family, I've heard from several families. How did they come up with these assessed values at such different rates with basically the same property? Thank you all for your service. I know it's not easy to sit here and do all the hard work that you do. You have families just like we do. But we love our farm and we want to keep it. And we don't want to be taxed to the point because of assessments that it's harder for us to keep. And I thank you all for your service.
Chandler, and just to respond in general to the comments people may make, staff is always interested in talking with folks who have questions about any of the issues that we're addressing here. So, and we encourage you to avail yourself of that by simply contacting the Office of Assessment or whatever office you may have an issue with. Thank you. And Virginia Maines.
My name is Virginia Maines. I'm a resident of James City County, and I moved here 5.5 years ago, and I was so thankful to be in a place where everything was kept up, it was beautiful, and the tax rate was reasonable. Since that time, I've been appalled at what's been going on, and I have spoken several times to you and to the school board, and I really feel that you are not representing the constituents that you should be. Yes, maybe we're old. Yes, maybe they're all young. But whoever it is, you should be paying attention to what we're saying, because we come and say the tax rate is too high, the tax rate is going too high, you are putting up things that we don't want. Pay attention to us. Listen to us. Look around. Even though there's a whole round of people here who will not talk because they're a little bit shy, pay attention to it. Take note of the number of people that attend here, not just the ones that get up and talk. Everybody needs to be respected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Maines. Dawn Canaday.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. Thank you very much. My name is Dawn Canaday, and I reside at 9502 Godden Court in Tawana, Virginia. I am present to you to advocate on behalf of numerous residents who are deeply concerned with the proposed property tax rates within our community. The discourse has primarily focused on residential taxes. However, I have diligently examined the business tax focus on residential taxes and the framework in Tawana, specifically as pertaining to limited liability corporations or LLCs. Through my review, I have discovered that business operations under LLC classification frequently incur lower local taxes than residential property owners. Although LLCs are obligated to pay state and federal taxes, the determination of local tax rates falls within the purview of municipal authorities. Importantly, the rates applicable to LLCs are not published for public scrutiny, which raises concerns about transparency and fairness in the tax system. I have 4 examples I'd like to share with you. The first example is the Stonehouse Self-Storage LLC, a mini storage unit facility valued at $7 million and occupies 12.21 acres, paid $3,682.07 in property taxes last year. In comparison, my husband and I own a 0.186 acre of land residential property, which we paid $3,498 taxes and 45 cents, taxes in the same period. Projected taxes for our property in 2026 are expected to be $3,691, while the self-storage unit facility will not experience any increase. The Stonehouse Golf Maintenance LLC, the owner is not listed. The acreage is 20 acres, 7.25. Taxes paid in 2025 were $2,038.46, no increase in 2026. The third example is JSRS Associates LLC. The property known as Tawana Business Center comprises of 24 individual units. The owner is not listed. Taxes paid for 2025 are $1,075.68. Proposed taxes for 2026, no increase. Fourth example is Old Stage Road, Tawana LLC, which is in Delaware. The property is newly under construction facility for the 64 Commerce Center encompassing 28.565 acres. The owner of the property tax information is not available, claiming LLCs additionally in Tawana are restaurants, small businesses, grocery stores. The list goes on and on. Upon careful review of numerous businesses, it is evident that the majority operate under LLC status. These examples show LLC businesses pay much less in property taxes than residential owners. It is imperative that tax rates for both residential and commercial properties be established in a manner that is equitable and just, meaning rates should be proportionary to property value and should not disproportionately burden any group. By implementing such standards, the county can promote community trust and foster sustained development while ensuring the tax policy is fair and effective for all stakeholders. Accordingly, I respectfully urge the board to adopt a 2-tier tax system for the forthcoming budget cycle, distinguishing between LLCs and residential properties. Specifically, I propose increasing the tax rates for LLCs while reducing the rate for residential property owners. I firmly believe adjustments would bridge the budget gap and foster more balanced fiscal environmental, and all stakeholders. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Carrie Traver? I'm sorry, was that right, Carrie?
Carrie Traver?
Yes.
My name is Carrie Traver. I live at 103 Shellbank Drive. Hello to the board and to the administrators. I feel compelled to point out to you another severe disproportionate scenario within the recent property assessment increases. The 2027 assessment of riverfront properties is so excessively overvalued that it constitutes an exploitation of property owners. The local newspapers reported that the average assessment increase for homes in James City County is approximately 11%. In contrast, the average increase for riverfront property owners is 35%. My increase was 41.1%. There's no home on my street that has sold within 4.5 years. Therefore, there is no recent comparable sales to establish a reliable, fair market value. I'm retired, so I have a fixed income, but I've got the time to export and analyze the data. I exported it from the James City County property system. I conducted a statistical analysis. The analysis indicates that the county has chosen to assess riverfront properties at significantly elevated values that are disproportionate to the assessment of other properties. On my street, assessors increased the value of riverfront properties by an average of more than $305,000 per property, while the average increase for non-riverfront property owners on the same street is only $62,000. These increases create the appearance of a revenue-driven approach, potentially to support the major county expenditures, such as the construction of the new building intended to house county staff. Property owners are effectively being taxed on estimated and unrealized gains. My husband and I have lived in James City County for more than 35 years. Now we live in a property that we've owned for 10 years. During that time, we've paid tens of thousands of dollars in taxes. We intend to own this property for at least another decade, after which our children will inherit it. We have no plans to sell the property and realize the valuation assigned by the assessors. So we will never realize the valuation assigned by the assessors. As a result, we will pay substantial additional taxes to the county without ever receiving a corresponding monetary gain from the property. Many residents along the James River are longtime members of the community. We own these properties as a result of decades of living and working in James City County and supporting local businesses. We're not outside investors who have profited from other counties or other states. The Board of Supervisors is permitting policies that place an unfair and disproportionate financial burden on riverfront property owners. The Board of Supervisors is allowing longtime James City County residents to be taxed to the point that remaining in their homes may become financially unsustainable. I respectfully request that the Board of Supervisors investigate the disproportionately high assessments applied to riverfront properties. These assessment practices are inequitable and impose an unreasonable financial burden on a specific group of property owners. Thank you.
Thank you. Claude Gilmer? Mr. Gilmer? Go. Oh, here you go.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Stevens. My name is Claude Gilmer. I live at 112 Woodside Drive in the Roberts District. I've heard two critical points that the board needs to hear. The young lady said you need to pay attention to what you're hearing. What we're saying to you, you need to hear. The other young lady who just spoke said, used the word unsustainable. What that means to me is, at some point, this county will begin to lose residents. People who sustain this county will begin to move to someplace else. York County has a source of revenue that James City County does not have. They have all of the federal installations. So therefore, I say to you, when I got this card, the top of my head nearly blew off. I said to somebody, where on earth could I possibly get an 18.3% return on my money? And if the board knows, please tell me, and I'll take my money, the little money that I have left, I'll take it and deposit it there, and I'll see if I can come up with the 18.3% return. But there is something drastically wrong when I live in Grove, and I've lived there for 35 years. And I've asked the question a number of times, what percentage of capital that the county gets comes back to Grove? We have a number of people here who don't know much about Grove. I know that Grove has provided you, the county, with an extraordinary amount of income. And we don't get any return of that income in a substantial amount. We are about to get a playground. We have a middle school, James River Elementary, and we have a firehouse. The firehouse we were threatened with the firehouse being taken away at some point, and if it hadn't been for August Bush, that firehouse would not be in Grove now. So something is going on, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm not even sure I know how to articulate what's going on. I'm getting old, and I say to you, Social Security increase was 2.8% this past year, and we're talking about 18.3% increase on the money that I have to pay you. So I just ask you, what are you doing? Why aren't you listening? Why aren't you listening? That's all I've got to say.
Chris Henderson? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. Budgets are about choices, and budgets reflect priorities. And what I hear from our elected officials and administration is that the citizens of James City County expect a high quality of service, extraordinary amenities, and gold-plated services and government. And the reality is we cannot afford gold-plated county facilities. We cannot afford gold-plated county government. And we are at a tipping point. And that chart right there should be a huge wake-up call to everybody, that you're looking at 34% increases in assessed value in 2 years, through 2 cycles. And that's not sustainable. And what you're hearing from people, and there are thousands out there that you'll never hear from, but they'll feel it. And they're going to have to make some really tough choices about whether or not they're going to continue to live in James City County. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about affordability in James City County, but the budgets that you are approving and putting forward are not affordable for the vast majority of people who live here. Or maybe not the vast majority, but a significant portion. And I think it's incumbent upon you as leaders and us as citizens to have an understanding of the appropriateness of what citizens can afford to contribute to their government to support operations. And I see a budget that is largely built upon significant wants, not actual needs. And it would have been really helpful to have a budget that was based upon the rate of inflation and population increase exclusively. And what does that mean? What are the choices that would then be made in order to support a budget based upon that level? And then allow citizens to weigh in on whether or not they want to pay more to have the higher budget. But we haven't been given that choice. What we're presented with is a situation where we're looking at substantial increases in our real estate taxes and our meals taxes that are unaffordable for a significant portion. And those folks that live on the margin are going to be the most impacted because their rents are going to go up. As a landlord, their rent reflects the cost of doing business, which includes insurance, which is increasing at an incredible rate. Insurance rates are up a third because of lawsuits. And now they're looking at significant increases in real estate tax payments to James City County. So we are quickly becoming unaffordable. And that may be fine for some of you, but it's not for me. So I would encourage you to take out the pencil, sharpen it, let's cut the budget, and let's get back to something that reflects population increase and inflation. And there's some big bogeys out there. You guys have not signed off on your guaranteed maximum price contract for a $120 million building. You can put that on the shelf and say, let's wait. Let's wait. Let's wait until our citizens can afford it. Thank you.
Excuse me if I haven't gotten this name correctly. Jim Etchenberger, is that right? Okay. Reading blue books does help sometimes.
You're as good as anybody else. My name is Jim Etchberger, 100 Woodland Road up in Woodland Farms. And it's my first talking to the Board of Supervisors. Thank you for your service. Mr. Stevens, thank you for your work. I was about floored when I opened up my assessment and my land value had doubled. My taxes went up over $2,000. And I just started looking at things of something's got to change in James City County. I agree with Mr. Henderson there. We got to rein in things. I have traveled all over this country into a lot of towns about the size of Williamsburg, James City County, and I see functional projects that work for people, but they don't blow budgets. If we got a 10.31 average increase in assessments, mine went up, which I thought was a lot until I heard some of these others. Mine went up 34.9% in just that last 2 years. It's the first time I'm born and raised in James City County. I've been here all my life. All 67 years have been in James City County. For the first time in my life, I asked myself, I don't know if I can afford to stay in James City County. Now, I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things built, and I've seen a lot of budgets happen, but this is the first time in my life I don't know if I can afford to stay in James City County the way the rates are going. I look at the board to take care of the citizens that are here, not necessarily the ones that aren't. People will move in, but right now you got to look at us. We all have budgets that we have to stay within. We all plan ahead so that we have money to cover what our expenses are going to be, but just because you can raise something doesn't mean you should raise something. I'm a firm believer in plan ahead, save your money, build whatever you want to build or buy whatever you want to buy. going an increase of 7.47%, I think is not right. I think with the increases we had in assessments, which I agree, I'm not sure what formula was used, but give more than a 3-cent bone back to the citizens of James City County so that we can still not only live, but also live a quality of life that we want to have. We've earned it. Like I said, lived here all my life. I had 2 businesses here. I was able to earn a living here. I paid a lot of taxes, and I would like to stay, but I just don't know the way things are going if that's going to be sustainable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nancy Herman, is that correct?
Hi, I didn't expect to be called necessarily, but I'm kind of glad that I was. I live at 4720 Bristol Circle, West Ray Downs. We moved here 8 years ago. I'm from Newport News, and at the time we bought an ordinary but reasonable house, and we were very happy to purchase it. But now it is appraised at $420,000. We bought it for $263 8 years ago. Our taxes are going up 46% from 2024 to 2026. First it was 15%, and now it's 31%. But I agree with the gentleman that was just here. I'm from Virginia. I've worked hard. I haven't made the money that people made in other areas. But I'm proud to live here. I want to live here. I chose this. But this is a drastic increase, and we have very little we can cut in our budget. We pay for a lot for health care, et cetera, and our money is going up by 3% for salaries with Social Security and different retirement. Thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Bartlett.
Kenneth Bartlett. I live at 8390 York River Park Road. Good evening, members of the board. I wanted to take a moment to speak directly to you tonight. I want to start by saying that I truly would not want to be in your shoes right now. You're facing a perfect storm of challenges that I don't think anyone could have predicted, from the sudden increase of terrorists and global conflicts to the soaring cost of living that is hitting every single one of us right here at home. It is with those immense pressures of mine that I want to express my sincere appreciation to your service and your dedication to our community. When I think about the decision before you, especially concerning property taxes, I feel the weight of it from my own perspective as a resident. A potential increase in our property tax rate isn't just a number on a page to me, it's a direct threat to the financial stability of households across our town. I think about my neighbors and friends on fixed incomes, particularly our seniors who have no way to simply earn more to cover a higher tax bill. For them, an increase would be the final factor that forces them to sell a home they have lived in for decades, leading to displacement and eroding the very fabric of our community. This also impacts generational wealth, as the ability to pass a family home to the next generation is put at risk. This isn't just a financial loss, it's a loss of heritage and stability for our families. This strain extends far beyond just a homeowner. The ripple effects on our local economy would be immediate and severe. When you take more money from my family and my neighbors and my friends, that's money that is no longer being spent at our local diners, our hardware stores, and our small businesses. Furthermore, we all know that these costs don't stop with property owners. They are inevitably passed on to renters, driving up lease rates and making it even harder for future generations to find an affordable place to live in the community where they grew up. For our local businesses, an increased tax bill, what I learned earlier today might not be happening to them, could be a worst case scenario and could lead to job cuts or even relocations, taking vital employment opportunities with them. Your job of balancing the critical need for our public services with these very real and personal consequences is a monumental one. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but I felt it was important to come here tonight to share my perspective. And while I see the difficulty of your position, and I'm grateful for your commitment, I respectfully ask you on behalf of myself, my neighbors, and my friends, and our local businesses to please find another way forward and vote against an increase to our property taxes at this time. And just so you know, my taxes are going up 18%. So I left New Hampshire to come to an area where taxes were decent. And now I'm right back in the thick of it again. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you. I'm afraid I'm probably not going to get this right. Janice and Bruce Boilefet? Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see what it says. Steve Maines?
Well, good evening. I'm Stephen Maines. I live at 3781 Captain Wynn Drive in James City County. And thank you for the opportunity to speak on the proposed tax increase. I'm here today because our process, frankly, is broken. The supervisors do not appear to be in charge. Look at how other counties handle the same cost pressures we face. Fairfax County, a place well known for taxing its citizens heavily, established a maximum potential tax rate as a hard ceiling, and that ceiling made their effective tax increase about 4% over the last year. That's too high, but it's far below the rate of increase that you're asking for. At least Fairfax County tried to draw a line in the sand, and by contrast, James City County established no controls on spending whatsoever. Now, how do you pay for all this spending? Well, with sleight of hand, of course. You propose trimming the real estate tax rate by 3 cents from 83 to 80. But then you proudly call that a cut. But it's not a cut. It's not when residential assessments have jumped almost 12%. The only way this becomes a genuine cut is when to cut to taxpayers is when you drop the rate to 74 cents. Anything higher is simply shifting your burden of governance onto the governance onto the backs of the taxpayers. Let's talk about real challenges facing James City County residents. Affordability is the buzzword of the day, and the largest line item in any family's budget is their mortgage. Can anyone actually do something about mortgages on this side of Richmond or Washington, D.C. or Wall Street? Well, the Board of Supervisors can, by cutting spending. With this proposed increase, our property taxes will have skyrocketed 43% over the last 5 years. 43%. I want to get the return, as Claude did, on that kind of money. And this increase is baked into your monthly house payment alongside the higher insurance and higher interest costs. You can't control insurance and interest, I get it, but you can control county taxes. And every dollar you appropriate makes the mortgage crisis worse for families trying to stay in their homes. Nothing I'm recommending today will touch the 20 fine parks that we're proud to have in the county. Not one playground, not one trail, not one athletic field needs to close. What I'm asking is simple. Tighten your belts the same way you're telling us to. Especially those on fixed incomes and the working poor who have no other place to turn. We should not be asking people who got a 2.8% COLA increase to fund a 7.5% tax increase. So going back to Fairfax County, one of their supervisors put it perfectly. He said, "My biggest disappointment is the board's continued refusal to do a deep dive on the budget to look for efficiencies, savings, and reductions, which has been my recommendation for years. Instead, the board is leaving it to the county executive." Well, those cuts never come. The supervisors reach the budget deadline with no options on the table and simply go along with a single budget recommendation. This is exactly what's happening in James City County. The process is upside down. The supervisors should be driving the budget, demanding a line-by-line review, setting real spending caps, prioritizing core services, delivering affordability through genuine tax relief for your constituents, not accounting tricks that still leave families paying more and more every single year. As a small businessman, if I ran my company this way without capping spending and hunting aggressively for efficiencies, I'd be out of business. I don't have the luxury of reaching with the force of law into the pockets of my customers. I have to continuously assess how much I need to spend to recruit, train, and retain quality employees, cost of facilities and materials, and what the competition is. And I work every day to keep turnover low, find better ways of doing things, and implement technology when appropriate. Our worlds are not so different, except I have to make payroll without being underwritten by taxpayers. Ladies and gentlemen, the residents of James City County are not asking for the moon. We're asking you to lead. Take charge of the tax and the budget. Show us that the supervisors are in control and that fiscal responsibility matters in our county. Thank you for your time and your service. I urge you to send this proposal back for deep, honest review of that our families deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Lassiter. Linda Lassiter.
Lassiter. I live at 131 Indigo Dam Road. I've never done this before. I didn't know what was expected of me. I gave my name at the front door, so please forgive me. I've heard people speak eloquently and clearly about their concerns. People have done research, which I have not. But I will tell you, I'm 82 years old. I purchased my house 23 years ago for $160,000, and it's going to be valued at $405,000 in 2027. And I just want to ask you, do you think that my income has gone up in the same way that my house has increased? This is my last stop. This is where I'm going to live forever. I'm not going to get the value out of it. So I really support the people that have really spoken so eloquently and clearly about the unfairness of this. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Very much. Michael Jenks.
Thank you. Michael Jenks, 104 Harlech in James City County. I think everything's been said. I just wanted to echo some of the concerns. And I will tell you that I don't know anybody in my neighborhood of several dozens of houses that are not upset by the increase of the real estate taxes. Now, I understand you got the rate issue there, but it's really what we care about is how much money we're paying out of our pocket for real estate taxes. And I've worked with and for several government agencies. I do know that the government agencies don't look at things the same way that we as individuals do in our own personal lives. It's a kind of in fact, in my view, part of the issue is that you know that you've got all this money coming in, so let's figure out a way to spend it. Now, I'm sure you don't agree with that, but there is some mindset there that is very true. In one of the agencies that I worked for years ago, we had an operation that was done by government, and I suggested that it be contracted out because I felt it could be done better. And I was the bureaucracy fought it all the way up through to Washington. I finally got it approved, and we put a contractor in there. He looked at things differently, and the result was he saved about 35% in our annual cost of that. Just because as a business, as Steve mentioned, or as an individual in our own household, we look at things a little more differently than you do as a government agency. And we look at things that really, are they needed? Are they affordable? Is there a different way to do it? So I just encourage you in the future. I know we've got this huge buildings being built to consolidate government agencies. I suppose there was a study, something that said that was justified, but I have a hard time believing that this county needs to spend that kind of money building a new building. And what are you going to do with the facilities that you have already? So that's my 2 cents worth. And I thank you for your time. And I appreciate your service because it's not an easy job you have. I agree.
Thank you very much. It looks like, Amy. Amy Lockwood, is that right?
My first time here. Amy Lockwood, 4015 Milldam Court. I'm here. Oh, okay.
Speak up, please.
I'm here on behalf of my family, friends, and neighbors. I have a small list of reasons why people cannot be here to speak about the tax increases. Some people are not off work yet. Parents are picking up their children. Parents are in traffic. Parents only have 2 hours to spend with their kids before they go to bed. Mothers are breastfeeding. People are taking care of elderly family members. People who are working more than one job to make ends meet. People without transportation and people without mobility. So I ask that the insensitive comments regarding people not showing up to meetings be stopped. I would think any representative elected in this county would understand family responsibilities and commitments. I would like to say that the people present and the people not present here today do not want to see their taxes increased. On a side note, I sent a letter regarding my particular taxes this morning. When tax increases are presented, they are made to sound reasonable. But as you listen to people today, you can see that they are absurd. I myself calculated the percent change in one of my properties in James City County and found that there was a 40% increase in taxes between the years of 2021 and 2025. So I calculated a percent change in those years, and it was 40%. I think that's absurd. And I think that, like everyone here has said, you need to listen to what we're saying and look at what's going on with these tax increases, even if people are not here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Mary Judith Kemp, 8 Harrop Parish Court. Thank you to all of you for all you do for our community, sincerely. My husband and I lived in New Jersey for 25 years, one of the states with one of the highest property taxes in the country. I would add that there are no ratables in our former town. Our taxes there, over a period of 25 years, ending in 2022, went up a total of 40%, 25 years. We have been residents in James City County, happily so, for almost 3 years, and over 2 assessments, we are facing a total increase of 32%. That's in 3 years, which astonishes me. As others have mentioned more articulately than I have, I hope that you will truly consider the people who are on a fixed income and those who are struggling to make ends meet. We understand costs rise and therefore taxes increase, but this seems excessive. And I respectfully ask you to consider this when you're setting the tax rate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ben Johnson.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Johnson. My wife and I own a small business on Richmond Road, 6648 Richmond Road in Lightfoot. That business is a laundromat, and I want to emphasize that it still operates on quarters. Okay? That's important. We got our property, real estate property tax notification a few weeks ago, and it went up 68%. Okay? That's a lot. That's a lot of quarters. So the question is, where are we going to get the quarters? Well, our customers are going to have to, raise the prices. The unfortunate thing about it is that many of our customers are retired. They're on fixed incomes. We have purposely held our prices steady for the last week. Let's see, we've been open since 2010, and I think we've had one small increase because we put in a different machine, and our prices have been the same. And I'm not saying woe is me. I'm not here for a pity party. That's not the point. The point is we understand the customers that we service, that we serve, and we know that many of them are on a fixed income. And when these assessments go up, you say, well, the property went up X amount of dollars. That should make you happy. It only makes you happy if you sell. We're not planning on selling our property. We're going to be that we're in it for the long haul. So I would ask that any influence that you have, I would request that you review the assessment process and see what the impact is going to be on the people that are on a fixed income. And I'll leave you with this, okay? California, beware of Prop 13. California got in some serious problems with real estate assessments. It went through the roof in a very short time. The reason I know, my wife and I were living there, so we know. And I just caution you, don't, review Prop 13. It was actually a solution to the rapid increase in the real estate assessments. So with that, unless you have questions of me, thank you very much.
Thank you. That's the last speaker card we have, so I'll close this public hearing, and we'll not take any action on this item tonight. Anybody have any questions or comments? Let's move on to the next public hearing then. Next public hearing is on ordinance to amend County Code Section 20-35. And Ms. McCarthy.
Good evening again. Staff has proposed an amendment to the James City County Code Section 20-35 to increase the tax on prepared food and beverages from 4% to 6% effective July 1st, 2026. This change is included in the county's fiscal year 2027 proposed budget, and it's expected to generate approximately $3.4 million in new revenue. Unlike property taxes that are borne solely by our county residents, this tax is paid by both residents and visitors who dine in our community. There's no action required of the board at this meeting.
Any questions for staff? No, not seeing any. I'll open the public hearing. Okay, and we'll begin with Chris Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. As a former restaurant owner, I think I can speak with some authority about the impact of tax increases on diners and dining dollars that are spent by our patrons. Consumers and diners do not differentiate between what's paid to the restaurant and what's paid to the taxing authority. They look at their total bill. And so what we're doing is we're increasing the cost of food in our community, thinking that it's going to be paid by other people. And I will tell you, in the restaurants that I was a member of or an owner of, the vast majority of our customers were local and were not out of town. Most of that business occurs in the city and not in James City County. So this tax is going to hurt James City County citizens at a time where you're increasing their real estate taxes substantially. And I can argue that we should use that as a selling point, the fact that we have a lower rate, and that our restaurants could use that as a marketing advantage and say simply, don't pay 6% in the city and don't pay their 13% total, which is what they charge, pay something less here. And so I think there is a better way than the herd mentality that says, let's go join the higher tax rates that are adjoining, that are our neighbors. And let's take advantage of being a low-cost provider in perhaps the one area where we could be. Thank you.
Rachel Sears.
Hello, my name is Rachel Sears. I am located at 4744 Bristol Circle, resident of James City County. Good evening. Thank you all so much, everyone, and I really appreciate your time and letting us speak. As mentioned, I certainly would not want to be in your position, but a little bit about me. I was born and raised right here in Williamsburg. I'm a proud native. I have been here in the county as a homeowner for the last 6. And I represent the Williamsburg Area Restaurant Association. I am the executive director. WERA boasts over 100 restaurant members right now. So we have restaurant members in James City, the city of Williamsburg, York County, even in New Kent and Isle of Wight. So I am here to advocate for our local restaurants more than anything else. I'm here just to express my concerns based off of the new meal tax increase. I'm sure most of you are aware, we recently went through this earlier this year in the city. That increased to 6.5%, and our industry is still in recovery mode. Restaurants are operating on really tight margins while facing the obvious rising costs across the board for food, labor. There's staffing issues, rent and utilities are going up, property, so on and so forth. And this makes it really hard for our restaurant industry to thrive. And that is my goal. I feel like spending my entire career in restaurants here in Williamsburg, I have seen many changes. I've seen so many shifts, and we're resilient, but just because you can doesn't mean you shouldn't. And I would like to point out that Williamsburg should be and is a dining destination. We boast so many wonderful restaurants that are mom and pop, small business. They are run and employed by our neighbors in our community. And I think the term "don't bite the hand that feeds you" comes to mind a bit, because these restaurants we're depending on to feed not just locals, but all of the tourists and guests that come to visit our lovely town. We have big projects, the 250th, the sports complex. So we want to be able to accommodate them. And I've started a collection of emails, letters, phone calls, messages that I get from diners that are appalled by the tax that they have to pay upon their enjoying a meal at one of our wonderful spots. And as a longtime career server that depended a lot on tips, my concern is for that accrue as well. So I think overall, this is going to have a negative impact. It's going to fall down the line to reduce customer traffic altogether. The biggest concern for me is to see another restaurant close its doors. And when I get feedback from locals and guests that come to enjoy dining in our town, there's a physical reaction. It hurts because we want them dining. Eating out should not be a luxury. It should be accessible for everybody. And the way things are going, it's not sustainable for our small businesses. So I just ask that you reconsider, and I'm happy to have a discussion with you, Mr. Stevens. There's been some ideas, but moving forward, I just ask that you think about that and think about the hardworking people that we depend on to serve meals to us, our families, and the people that visit. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. David Turner?
Thank you. I'm David Turner, 122 Ware Road. I actually had put in a card to speak on property tax and also on the sales tax. So not sure how I got missed on the property tax component, but I'll speak to sales tax first. It actually all ties together in part because the more you tax something, the less you get. So as you I had one of my neighbors who got their assessment and it was increasing by 22%. They actually started to cry because it was going to take over half of their Social Security increase. And by the time you have all of the inflation that goes in, they were actually starting to talk about having to find a part-time job in order to just make ends meet next year. So how do you think that that person is going to now pay an extra 2% at a restaurant as a perk? They're not. And that's going to actually trickle down to a lot of other people. My personal property taxes are going, or my real estate property taxes are going up over the 5+ years that I've owned my house in James City County, 60%. So we have to make decisions. And when we make those decisions, all of it, all the taxes, all those things come into account. So I really think you guys need to very seriously consider not just the individual tax that you're looking at, but the body of tax that you're actually incurring. And not only that tax, but also the taxes that are coming from the state. Because the more the state taxes, again, the less we have to spend on discretionary things like going to restaurants. And so that's a real concern for this community that needs good restaurants to serve the tourists that come in to be in our community. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. The last card we have on this item, so I'll close this public hearing, and we'll move on to the third public hearing for the evening, which is fiscal year 2027-2028 county budget. Ms. McCarthy.
The purpose of this public hearing is to invite public comment on any aspect of the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget. And again, no action is required of the board at this meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. McCarthy? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. Again, the big bogey that sits up there is capital projects funds. And I think we're in a position now that you're beginning to hear from the citizens and the taxpayers of this community that we're at a tipping point. And we're in a position now to put ourselves in a position where we cannot afford to continue on the course that we're on. And so we need to make some choices. And I would suggest that the board begin to prioritize those things that are most important, and I would view those as police and fire and the education of our kids, although the school population has decreased by 1,000 in the last, well, since COVID, and has not met the low end of the Cooper Weldon projections. And yet we see significant increases in the cost of the operation of our school system, who are educating 1,000 fewer kids than they were, and I would argue probably 1,500 or 2,000 fewer than they projected. So why does it cost more per student to educate them now than 2 years ago? Substantially more, because there are 1,000 fewer kids and we're paying substantially more. And so I think there's a serious discussion that needs to be had with our school board folks about the money and about how much James City County residents and taxpayers can afford. And with regard to the capital projects, I know that we have money going to schools for new daycare facilities that are going to be utilized and create capacity. And if the population trends are correct, 2027 was supposed to be the high water of enrollment in our school system, and we're looking at declining enrollment over the next 10 years. And that only changes if people start having lots of kids. And that doesn't seem to be in the cards for us. We seem to be becoming an older population because young families can't afford to live here. And so, now we're contributing more to a school system that's educating fewer, and that, and I have argued that we would be better off on our own. If you took the performance of James City County students in isolation and separated them from the city of Williamsburg, our school system, the James City County school system, would have a higher student achievement than it currently does as a blended system. I think that those are the facts. So who pays for that? Who pays for that? Our kids and our taxpayers. Because the school system, as good as it is, could be even better if it were on its own. So as the stewards of James City County taxpayers and citizens, our duty and responsibility is not to those in the city of Williamsburg. It's right here. Let's get the biggest bang for our buck. And if it's to separate the school system, then let's do it. It's not a hard decision. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only card I have. Yeah.
Was the other one this?
Ms. Homer, Marie Homer, is that right? I apologize for missing your card on the other matter.
It's just fine. I came in, I got to use the nice pen out front. I thought I was good to go. Thank you so much. Excuse me. Well, good evening, Chairman and the board. My name is Marie Homer. I'm an owner-resident at 4211 Newtown Avenue. I'm here to respectfully and adamantly oppose the proposed increase to the food and beverage tax, also known as the meal tax. I'm here with the voice of and concerns of those I work with in the hospitality industry: bussers, wait staff, prep cooks, hosts, dishwashers, and proprietors, many of whom cannot be here this evening because they're working. While James City County is in need of funds, I don't just believe the increase in this meal tax will be detrimental. I know it to be true. We have examples from the city of Williamsburg already. Make a date night to any of those places, and the wait staff at those establishments can confirm this is the trend. First, we have the consumer. We're the first to bear the burden of higher prices. We're looking at capitalizing off this increased tax because everyone looks at James City County as a tourist destination. However, the locals have the most burden of this tax. We live here and we want to support our community, but this will negatively affect the restaurants in our area and it'll affect our hospitality choices. Second, we have everyone that works in the restaurant. I'm putting a lot of us in this category. Making less than tips, which is already happening in the city of Williamsburg. Proprietors making less money, which means their ability to pay staff any sort of increase near impossible. Then we have lower income families that rely on quick meals to feed a family. I know the most common response is telling people to just eat at home. How lucky anyone is that can just make that choice. The majority of lower income families work more than one job. The majority of restaurants in James City County or across the country do not offer a single benefit. I've worked in the hospitality industry for 33 years. In that time, I've not had a single hour of paid leave, not for the birth of my children, the death of my parents, or a single doctor's appointment. So for those that have a choice to make a meal versus going out to dinner, have a luxury some cannot afford. If you're not at work, you do not get paid. So obviously working a shift at a pancake house, then turning around and working the night shift at the steakhouse does not give you the option. Eat at home. I personally know many kitchen staff that would love the opportunity to do just that. For many, the quick meal is not discretionary, it's survival. Third, we have the proprietors of these establishments. Gone are the days of the owner's booth. The owners of small business are not there for looks, shaking hands, kissing babies. They're digging in every day to keep their dreams afloat. Ideally, for these owners, they would like to retain staff and offer diners an amazing experience no matter how much they need to pay for a meal or for staffing. The food and beverage tax increase again will be detrimental to them. We have already seen some well-known and iconic Williamsburg establishments just down the road either downsize or close entirely. Ground has been broken on a $189 million facility to centralize and improve county services. While this is capital improvement, I get the difference. There is nothing to prevent this board from also using money from the general fund to cover these costs. What is to keep the food and beverage tax increase from going to this new building project? I want to see everyone get what they want. New turf at Cooley Field, better pay for everyone. I want that. I just feel a few lean years in the budget is better than doing damage to all those people paying taxes for any reason in James City County. I appreciate your time. Oh, that's done. Thank you so much. I'm going to go out to dinner with my husband now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now I'll close the public hearing, and we have no action to take on this item tonight, so we'll move on to our next public hearing. The next on the agenda was for Westwood Park, but as I indicated earlier in the meeting, the applicant has requested a deferral of this case, so we're keeping that public hearing open, and we'll reschedule that event. SUP number 250016, 8285 Diascund Road, proposed contractors' offices. Allison Jakura.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. As mentioned, this is a special use permit for 8285 Diascund Road, contractors' offices. Located at the corner of Diascund Road and Hockaday Road, this property is zoned A1, general agricultural, is within the land use plan as rural lands and is located outside of the primary service area. Mr. Glass of GB Glass LLC and Mr. West of Atco Fasteners are the applicants requesting to operate their contractor businesses within the existing former colonial golf course. That golf course was approved in 1992. It ceased operation in 2010. During the after the cessation of that use, mitigation bank, a stormwater mitigation bank, was established by Davie Mitigation in 2023. The golf course SUP, a special use permit, was revoked by this board in 2024, and those improvements located at the site have remained vacant. So as mentioned, the applicants are requesting to operate their businesses within those existing improvements. They're currently operating Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and they're seeking to have offices, store their work trucks, equipment, some bulk materials, and trailers at the site. This is the proposed master plan. I've added some highlighting here for orientation purposes. This is all of the existing improvements located at the front corner on Diascund Road and Hockaday Road. The majority of the property, as noted, is within the mitigation bank, which is in conservation easement. The building here outlined in orange is where they're proposing to operate their joint offices with the associated parking for the building here in orange. Towards the top left, there's an existing building which they will be using as a workshop and office space with associated parking. And between those two, there are the two highlighted yellow areas, which are existing parking area that they will be repurposing as storage area. One of the conditions in the proposed conditions would be that that parking and storage area be screened from both rights of way, so that if they would park their contractor construction vehicle or any utility trucks, trailers within the parking area, it would still be screened just like the storage would be screened. I do have to note here, there is inadvertently an error in the resolution provided to you. It was presented correctly at Planning Commission. The applicant is aware, but in condition number 4, the third sentence should read, "No shipping containers shall be permitted." I believe it does incorrectly say shipping containers shall be permitted, so I do apologize. That is a minor error. It is intended to not permit that, and again, they are aware, and that was what was presented to the Planning Commission. Here I have shown the remainder of the land that is part of the special use permit, which is the existing stormwater pond and drain fields that will be serving the commercial facility. As one of the conditions for this case, they will be required to bring that stormwater pond either to rehab it to the approved design when it was built or to bring it into current standards. So if this is approved, they will be required to bring that stormwater pond into functionality again. In considering this case, staff did note that this is an adaptive reuse of an existing golf course improvement. It is well situated there for that reuse. It does have a low traffic generation similar to uses that would be permitted by right. There are enhanced landscape screening and limitation on operations proposed by staff to mitigate any potential nuisances. They don't need any additional area for development. They will be utilizing only those existing improvements, and this proposal would support 2 existing local businesses. For that reason, staff is recommending approval with the conditions noted, with that one minor correction. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chakura. I think we'll wait on your questions until after we hear from Mr. Polster.
Well, I did have a quick question because in what you talked about, the mistake that was made.
Yes, I apologize.
And no, that's okay. I get it. But how do we move forward? I mean, do we vote on that?
We would just
and then
indicate
just
that-
have
that we,
staff
would-
correct it?
would
Okay.
admit, that you moved an amended
Okay.
resolution with the word "not"
Okay.
included
Thank
in the
you.
appropriate spot.
I just didn't want to hold it up. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Polster, thank you for your patience.
Evening, Chairman McGlennon, members of the board. There was some discussion with the staff and applicant on the types of equipment that would be stored on site with condition 4, outdoor operations and storage. Condition 2, the landscape buffer and screening, if it would include native and pollinator plants. The restoration of the outfall in condition 9, an existing stormwater pond, and the addition to condition 4, screening of site features which would allow the storage of materials that were contained within the fenced area, physical materials such as reels, pipes, and not loose material. Staff clarified that 1 bulldozer and 1 backhoe, provided they are not visible from Diascund Road or Hockaday Road, are the only equipment in condition 4, and that the native pollinator plants would be determined on-site plant review. Mr. Grogg, the applicant, explained that the existing damaged outfall predated the current stormwater, and that was on the bottom left-hand side where the golf cart is, which is where the damage is to that pond. And that because the stormwater facility predated the current existing, if they couldn't restore it to the original standard, then they would go and revert to the new standards that the county has for stormwater. On the issue, the applicant requests for the addition to Condition 4, screening of site features to include physical materials such as reels or pipes, not loose materials. The Planning Commission was in agreement with that change to the condition. We had no speakers from the public. On a roll call vote of 7-0, the Planning Commission recommended to the board that they approve SUP 25-0016, 8285 Diascund Road, proposed contractor's office. And I would be happy to answer any of your questions.
Any questions for Mr. Polster or for Mr. Chikora? Could I ask you to speak just a little bit about the question that was raised about native screening, native plant screenings, and the relationship to the plan for planting pines and potentially harvesting them?
I think we were talking about the area that borders on the Hockaday side of that, and there was some discussion about what types of plant. And the discussion got to the point where Mr. Rosario, when he does the landscaping buffering with the staff, then would go through and look at that and approve it at that point. So it was kind of an open-ended question for us until the staff gets to look at site plan review.
Mr. Chikora, do you have anything to add on that?
Yes, so as noted during the site plan process, the specific landscaping proposed along those two right-of-ways will be evaluated. It was under staff consideration between Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors that that condition noted, condition number 2, didn't reference natives. So that change was made actually. So the condition presented to you tonight does read under condition number 2, C, the last sentence says, indicates the required evergreen tree and shrub mixture shall be native to Southeast Virginia and be increased from. So that native was added after feedback from the Planning Commission. So in that, the additional vegetation that they will need to plant, if there are holes within the existing buffer, that planting will have to be native. Regarding your comment about the pines that they've planted I believe that is a separate matter. They are permitted to do timbering or silviculture, which will be done by right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and we have, let me open the public hearing. Oh, first let me ask anybody else on staff. Anybody else want to ask staff any questions on this matter at this point? Open the public hearing then, and we have Chase Grog.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Nice to see you. My name is Chase Grog with Land Tech Resources located at 205 Bullifonts Boulevard, Suite E in Williamsburg. I'm here tonight representing John West, owner of Atco Fasteners, and Josh Glass, owner of GB Glass. John and Josh are both in attendance this evening. First, I would like to provide you a backstory of the two companies. Atco Fasteners was founded in 2000 and has been in James City County business since 2013. GB Glass was founded in 2007 and has also been located in James City County. Both businesses are currently renting space in Jacobs Industrial Park in Toano and are looking to move to a more permanent home. When the property became available, the opportunity to use the existing improvements for their businesses appeared to be a win-win for both John and Josh. The property is an approximately 210-acre parcel formerly used as the Colonial Golf Course. Since the golf course closed and its SUP was revoked in 2024, the buildings and site improvements have remained vacant. Rather than allow those structures to continue to sit unused, this proposal represents a true adaptive reuse, bringing productive life back to existing improvements without expanding development into untouched areas. Oh no. Oh, can we go back one? Sorry. There we go. The two businesses will utilize the former golf shop and maintenance buildings for office, administrative, and storage functions. As shown in the photos within our project narrative, although Josh is a Class A contractor, his fleet of vehicles is much smaller than what would typically be associated with a general site contractor. We did work with staff to allow for one bulldozer and one backhoe in case there was a job-specific use that would require those machines. Outdoor storage will consist of contractors' vehicles, trailers, equipment, and non-loose materials, and it will be screened in accordance with county requirements. After reviewing the conditions, the applicants and I realized that condition number 4 was somewhat vague regarding the wording for storage materials. Initially, we interpreted this condition as relating primarily to soil stockpiles rather than materials in general. As mentioned by staff, we worked with them and the Planning Commission to revise this language to its current state. We also accept the addition of the word "no" in front of storage container in the sentence in question. From a traffic standpoint, this is a very low-intensity use. With 21 total employees, peak hour trips are projected at approximately 15 in the morning and 17 in the afternoon. VDOT reviewed the application and expressed no concerns. Importantly, this site previously supported a golf course use, which generated significantly more daily traffic over many years without issue. Environmentally, this proposal minimizes impact. It relies entirely on existing building and site infrastructure. The majority of the property remains preserved, including over 100 acres under conservation easement as part of an approved mitigation bank. No expansion into sensitive areas is proposed, and any required stormwater improvements will be rehabilitated or upgraded to current standards. This is in line with the current feedback we have received from the SRP department. Though it is not part of the SUP application, I would like to briefly mention the former Golf Academy building and associated parking area. When this application was originally submitted, a separate SUP was also submitted for a potential wedding and event venue. Since the concept has not been fully finalized by the owners, we placed that application on temporary hold while focusing on this request. For John and Josh and their businesses, this SUP has always been the immediate priority as it addresses their current operational needs. We'll continue working with staff as that concept evolves and would bring forward a separate SUP for consideration in the future if that project moves forward. For the current SUP, staff's analysis found no unfavorable factors associated with the request. With the proposed conditions in place, including limits on lighting, deliveries, storage, and hours of operation, staff determined the use compatible with surrounding rural lands and consistent with the comprehensive plan. In summary, this is a low-impact, well-conditioned, adapted reuse of an existing commercial site. It supports 2 established local businesses, provides economic stability, preserves the majority of the 210-acre property in rural and forested land, and introduces no significant traffic, environmental, or public service impacts. For these reasons, we respectfully request your approval. Thank you for your time and consideration. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have.
Anybody have questions for the applicant?
I think it's a great reuse of something that's just sitting there.
Agree.
And when we met with the gentleman, we were both excited about it, so.
And it's well screened and backed. It's a
Yeah.
perfect use case.
It's absolutely.
Thank you.
If I can just, Mr. Grog, and I don't know whether you want to answer it or your applicants, but I just was curious. I know that the future development includes the by right development of 2 residences on the property as well. And then about how many of the acres are going to be potentially used for timbering?
So with the conservation easement, they're allowed to timber that as part of the mitigation bank. Technically, all of the timber, so basically all of the fairways, tee boxes and greens, everything that was a golf course was where they got mitigation credit. So that's where all the pine trees were planted back out on the property. So as part of that mitigation bank process, they're allowed to timber that. And I guess technically the areas, that were the hard existing trees would be included in that as well. The main 2 house sites, there's 2 10-acre pieces that have been left kind of on the western side that are on 2 kind of knolls, which is where the houses would go.
Yeah, I understand that, and I support the idea that the land could be used for timbering. That's consistent with the efforts to preserve rural lands. So all that's fine. I just want to kind of get a clear sense of.
And they've begun the process too of looking at the AFD as well as doing that as another piece of the property as well.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. All right, any questions for anyone? Let me close the public hearing, and we will now entertain a motion.
Motion to approve SUP 25-0016.
With the amendment.
8285 Diascund Road. With the amendment, right.
Okay, we have a motion. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. McGlynn?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great.
I just wanted to take a minute and say, Mr. West's wife, Mrs. West owns Brewster's So I thank them for their investment in, the continued investment in James City County. Thank you.
And I'd like to say this is in my backyard. I'm very, very familiar with this property. We have been very sad watching it. It's really been overgrown for almost 15 years. And a lot of proposals were put up for this property, and we're just excited to see it revitalized and used in a way that's very well for this area. So thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 6, SUP 250019, 5251 John Tyler Highway, Unit 47, Tobacco Outlet Expansion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As noted, this is a special use permit for a smoke shop at 5251 John Tyler Highway, Unit 47. The business does exist within Unit 49, so this is an expansion into a neighboring unit at the Williamsburg Crossing, which property is zoned B1, general business. It is designated within the land use plan as mixed use, and it is within the primary service area. A little history here on a smoke shop or vape shop. Prior to 2023, the ordinance did not define or separately designate that use. So vape shops were considered general retail sales. In 2023, the board adopted an ordinance amendment which did define that use and required a special use permit for the use to be allowed. That would apply to new uses going forward, but businesses which predated that change were allowed to continue as legal non-conforming uses. This business, the subject of tonight's case, was one such business where it predated the change, so it is a legal non-conforming use within its unit 49, shown here on the master plan. So in its current footprint, it is allowed to continue without requiring a special use permit, but as they are proposing to expand into the neighboring vacant unit, Unit 47, that does require the special use permit tonight. This permit would cover both suites, so if approved, it will legalize the existing business and also permit them to expand. So it will cover both units. In consideration of this, staff notes that this is an existing business, which is a legal non-conforming use. This proposal would bring that use into conformity with the zoning ordinance. It expands into an existing improvement, which is a reuse of existing improvements. It's well situated for the county. The retail use supports a mix of uses, which is the considered land designation for this area, and it does fit well within the Williamsburg Crossing mix of uses. The conditions do limit potential nuisance to street and neighbors, and staff is available for any questions. Oh, sorry, staff recommends approval based on those things and available for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Crow? Okay, Mr. Polster?
As staff indicated, the expansion of the existing smoke shop within the Williamsburg Crossing SUP was required for smoke vape shops due to the change in the zoning ordinance in the 2023. The approval of the SUP would bring the current non-conforming portion of the vape shop into conformance with the zoning. There was some discussion with staff on the prohibition of flashing signs and the lighting conditions that would only apply to both new unit and the existing shop. Mr. Mason Rashino, manager of the tobacco outlet, was asked if Kratom, K-A-R-A-T-O-M, or THC was sold at this store, and replied that neither the Kratom or the THC was available for any kind of a strain of the THC was available, including synthetic versions were also not available. Well, we had no speakers from the public, and on a roll call vote of 7-0, the Planning Commission recommends to the board that they approve SUP 250019-251 John Tyler Highway, Unit 47 Tobacco Outlet Expansion. And on that note, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Mr. Polster?
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead and open the public hearing, and we have one speaker card, and it is the applicant, is that correct? Yeah. Yep. Only if there are any questions for the applicant.
My name is Jason. I live in Quarter Path Road here in Williamsburg. I'm the manager of the store and here in place of the owner in case you have any questions for me.
Thank you, Jason. Jason, would you mind repeating your last name?
Jason Resino.
Okay, thank you.
Resino's fine.
Any questions for the applicant?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. What would the board like to do?
Close the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. There you go.
I'll move approval of the SUP 250019.
We have a motion. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we now move on to number
Is it possible to take a
Yeah. You wanna take a
5-minute recess?
quick recess?
Yep,
Sure.
I concur. Thank
Recess
you.
for 5 minutes. Back into order, and we'll move on to the next item, which is public hearing on an ordinance to amend and to reordain various provisions of the Appendix A fee schedule for development related permits, to amend the fee schedule for stormwater related permits, and I think Ms. Small is going to give the presentation. Oh, there she is.
Thank you. Good evening, Chair, members of the board. I am here to present an ordinance to amend and reordain various provisions of Appendix A fee schedule for development-related permits, to amend the fee schedule for stormwater-related permits. In 2025, the Department of Environmental Quality, or DEQ, amended the Virginia Erosion and Stormwater Management Regulation to change the statewide permit fee schedule for the Virginia Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, or VPDES, permit for discharges of stormwater from construction activities. The fee increases apply to individual and general VPDES permits, municipal separate storm sewer permits, or MS4 permits, permit modification fees, and permit maintenance fees. The purpose of the statewide fee increase is to provide 60 to 62% of the direct costs for the administration, compliance, and enforcement of DEQ's Erosion and Stormwater Management Program. The last regulatory action to modify most of DEQ's stormwater fees was in 2010, and most fees have not changed significantly since then. To ensure consistency with new state code requirements, staff recommends adoption of the attached ordinance. If adopted, the proposed fee changes would take effect on July 1st, 2026. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Small. Anybody have questions for staff?
Can you elaborate on the change in state code requirements and the impact that has, please?
Yes, absolutely. Happy to do that. So let's see. The current permit fees are 72% to the locality and 28% to the Commonwealth. The new permit fees are 70% to the locality and 30% to the Commonwealth. The fee schedule has been set to be applied equally statewide. One option that DEQ investigated was to only raise fees in localities where the department administers the program, but they determined that not to be equitable. For example, some of the permit fees that would change, one of the most common fees that we have in our program is the land disturbance between 1 and 5 acres. That's probably the most common permit fee. The current fee for that program is $2,835, and the new fee would be $4,100. That's a for example.
So what would happen if we did not raise our fees?
We would be inconsistent with the state code and with all the other localities in the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission and statewide.
But the state's requiring us.
Pretty much, yes. And just to elaborate on that further, you may see me again next year because they put into the state code that the fees could be increased based on the consumer price index annually as needed.
So to me, this falls again under an unfunded mandate from the state that puts increased burden on our taxpayers.
Well, this actually, as I understand it, would put the onus on the person seeking the permit, the developer perhaps in instances of new developments, but to cover the cost of services provided to the individual as opposed to more generally the public good.
It just increases building costs in the county is the concern. That's where a lot of the costs come in and the resistance. But I understand it's something from the state that they are requiring.
That is correct.
Any other questions for staff? Hearing none. We don't have a planning commission report on this item, so I'll open the public hearing. And we have one speaker card, Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. And I think, Ms. Wainwright, I think you hit the nail on the head, is that it adds to the cost of development in James City County. And you may say, well, you know, a developer can pay it, no big deal. Well, there's no free lunch. Whatever the developer has to pay gets passed on to the people who buy the property or occupy the property. So it gets all baked in. So if we're committed to affordability, then let's maintain the fees as they are and say, no, thank you. We like it the way they are. I don't know what the legal repercussions are of that, but I'm sure that our county attorney could tell us. But you know, this whole thing of big nanny government in the pockets of developers and homeowners and landowners, it's going to come to an end one way or another, whether we do it voluntarily or whether or not, you know, citizens revolt. You may think it's insignificant, but $1,000 or $1,200 or $1,600 of increase is not insignificant on a small project. Thank you.
Okay. That's the only speaker card I have. I will close the public hearing and ask for any action or motion. I would just say again that what this does effectively is it doesn't eliminate the cost of doing these permits for staff, but it does assign more of the responsibility to the person who is being served by the county as opposed to the general tax-paying public at large. So with that, I'll be happy to move the ordinance amendments. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
No.
Ms. Wainwright?
No.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Move on to item number 8, public hearing number 8, an ordinance to amend and reordain various provisions of Appendix A, fee schedule for development related permits to amend the fee schedule for sign permits. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As part of the FY27 budget process, staff reviewed and proposes a change on how fees are assessed for sign permit applications. Historically, the zoning division has not charged for permits for businesses requesting a replacement signage, even though the review process requires the same amount of time and effort as its new sign permit applications. The majority of the sign permit replacements are generally by large businesses such as banks, convenience stores, gas stations, dealerships, fast food, etc., due to rebranding or design changes. The current sign permit fee is $5.25 of gross sign area and does not explicitly limit the fee to new signs. Staff reviewed 84 sign replacement permits between the years 2020 and 2025 and determined that this practice resulted in more than $14,000 in unrealized revenue. Staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors formalize this suggested change in practice, which would allow fees to be applied to all sign permits requiring approval. This formal revision will provide transparency and clear guidance to citizens, staff, and sign companies. Staff recommends that the board approve this change to Appendix A of the County Code effective July 1, 2026. However, should the board not approve this change, staff will continue to not assessing signs for sign replacement permits. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Ms. Parrish. Anybody have questions?
So you're talking about the little white ones? Just the little building permits?
No.
What
The
signs are you talking-
big sign permits for businesses.
Oh, okay.
So you say that 14,000 fees not collected, understand that. But what kind of staff time are we talking to go through this process?
It's the same amount. We issue sign permits for face replacements or rebranding or any kind of sign. So we actually do the whole process for sign replacements already. We just don't charge the fee.
Thank you.
Other questions? Then I'll go ahead and I'll open the public hearing, and Mr. Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Henderson, 101 Keystone. These are existing James City County businesses who pay taxes here. And just like any taxpayer, they're entitled to some level of service from county government. And I don't think it's unfair if they are being asked to rebrand as a part of their business development, that we should be imposing additional fees on them. We should thank them for their business and hand them a permit, provided it meets code. Thank you.
Okay. Only card I have. I'll close the public hearing and ask the board for its direction.
I'll move the ordinance.
Mr. Stevens, call the roll, please.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Oh.
Ms. Wainwright?
No.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Now, on to the second, the 6-year secondary road plan. Mr. Holt.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Each year, the Virginia Department of Transportation works with the Board of Supervisors to develop a list of projects and priorities for the secondary 6-year plan. This priority funding plan is for the improvement and construction of secondary roads, and as you may recall, these are roads with route numbers of 600 or greater. As part of that review process, a public hearing has been advertised for tonight to provide an opportunity for public comment. Funds do not represent a large funding source. The proposed allocations for us total just over $1.1 million, with an expected annual funding allocation of $192,826 for each of the 6 years. Listed in your agenda packets is a brief summary of current and special funding projects for the priority list for fiscal years 27 through 31. In short, and similar to last year, staff recommends leaving funding available for any unexpected cost overruns that might occur with the Croker Road widening project, and leaving funding available for intersection improvements at Old Stage Road and Route 30, and also for intersection improvements at Centerville and Route 5. Staff recommends adoption of the resolution included in your agenda packets, which endorses the secondary road priority list for the next 6 fiscal years. That concludes my presentation. You may not notice in the audience tonight Mr. Rossi Carroll, our familiar face. He could not be with us, but it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian Gentry, the resident administrator assistant, who also helps us out 500 times a week with all of the calls we put into him. And with that, either myself or Mr. Gentry would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, and welcome, Mr. Gentry. It's nice to have you filling in for Mr. Carroll. At least we have somebody familiar and competent and in great shape to handle any questions we might have. So I want to talk to you about it. I want to talk to you about a pothole later on.
Shouldn't say anything, man.
Anybody have any questions or comments about the proposed 6-year plan?
Of course, remain very concerned about all safety.
Yep.
But most especially Centerville and Route 5.
That one in particular did go out to bid once. Unfortunately, they had a non-responsive bid on that one. It's my understanding, if it's not already back out, that is being rebid with the much hope that that could get constructed in the next few months, or definitely within fiscal year 27 is the goal. You're welcome.
Any other questions?
About Old Stage and 31.
That's the same as well. They're going to be bid
64.
together. The one bid that came in previously was a non-responsive bid, so they had to re-put the package back out together. And hopefully, again, when one goes, the other will go. They'll be bid together.
Any other questions? All right, well, let me go ahead and open the public hearing. This time it's Chris Henderson.
Glad you moved closer.
Move closer. We
Yeah.
said in the beginning, don't sit all the way back there, sit up here.
Oh, okay, okay, I got you.
You're adding
Well,
like
this is
half an
it. I
hour.
think
You're
this is my
adding
last
time.
time before you this evening, so you will be free to talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst ourselves.
Uh, I have really no issue with it. My bigger and broader comment was that back in a comprehensive plan that was done about 16 years ago when I was on the Planning Commission, there was a road that continued Croker Road that came all the way down to Jolly Pond to an intersection with Centerville Road. And it was a bypass. And there was an update to the comprehensive plan, and the board at the time, in its infinite wisdom, decided to remove that road. And we're going to need that road because the single biggest traffic problem that we're going to have as a county is at Route 60 and 199 and Lightfoot Road. That is going to be failing, currently is failing. I think I was here a month or two ago and talked about the dual left-hand turn lanes there at the exit ramp at 60 as an urgent need to keep traffic from backing up on the through lanes on 199 during peak hour. And so I know that Croker Road is 607 and it's a 600 digit road. So I thought it would be appropriate to at least bring that to the board's attention and ask that it be revisited as a potential solution to some of the problems that we currently encounter and will be encountering at the intersection of Centerville Road and 60 and 199. So that's basically my comment about the 600 roads. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, no other cards. I'll close the public hearing and ask for the board's.
I will move the the secondary 6-year plan.
We have a motion to approve. Mr. Stevens, call the roll, please.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Now we move on to number 10, ordinance to amend County Code Section 13-411, 4.1. And that is Mr. Ginsman.
Thank you, Mr. McGlennon, members of the board. What we have before you tonight is at the request of Ms. Larson. It's a proposed amendment to James City County Code Section 13-4.1, which currently requires people 14 years of age or younger to wear a helmet when riding a bicycle. Recently, the General Assembly changed that code. We were limited formerly to bicycles, and now we can add electric personal assistive mobility devices, toy vehicles, and electric power-assisted bicycles to our bicycle helmet ordinance, and the attached ordinance would do that. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are we talking about little toddler cars that go 1 mile an hour? That's when I think of toy vehicles.
I'm sure the state code has a definition for toy vehicles, but you're probably correct.
This would only apply to situations where people are on public roads?
That's correct. It's
Or sidewalks.
highway, street, sidewalk, or bicycle path.
So if there's a 12-year-old who's in an electric wheelchair going from, let's say, the apartments to Food Lion, where there's a walkway, they'd be required to wear a helmet.
Honestly, I could not give you the perfect answer to that. If you give me a little while, if you want to move to some of the other things, I can go back there and research what the definitions are. The Virginia code is really specific when it comes to those particular terms. The personal assistive mobility devices, which is a mouthful, there's definitions in the code for all of that. I'll be happy to get that for you. It'll just take me like 5 minutes if you want to do some of the other things. Or you defer it if you like.
Why don't we defer it, and then you can, I'm happy to defer it, and
Okay.
we'll figure out if toddler needs a helmet. And a
Some
Barbie car, but
specifics would be helpful.
we laugh, but
we need
you
the
know, that could be a
specifics.
serious injury if a toddler were to fall out of a Barbie car and hit their head. But I understand that some people might find that funny, so I'm happy to defer it.
Okay.
Yep.
We'd like to defer it to a date specific, so do you want to do it to next month?
Sure.
Next month meeting?
Sure.
It's not.
That's fine. We'll do it in May.
we haven't opened the public hearing, if you want to open the public hearing and then just continue
I'll
it to that date.
Open the hearing and leave it open until May 12th. Okay.
We need a vote to defer.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We can do that. See, Ms. Larson, you moving to defer?
Yes.
Okay. All right, please call the roll.
Ms. Wainwright,
Sorry.
motion to defer. till
Yeah,
May.
aye.
Ms. Knoll? Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, we now move on to an ordinance to amend our, I'm sorry, we're now moving on to board considerations, is that right? Yes, right. So here's a request for amplified sound we heard earlier this evening as part of a special event permit, Bike MS 2026.
Thank you again, Mr.
Yes,
Chair,
Mr. Holt.
members of the board. Chapter 14 of the County Code outlines the requirements and conditions applicable to special event permits that are issued for outdoor gatherings, parades, and road races. One of the requirements outlined in Section 14-6A states that unless specifically approved by the Board of Supervisors, no stage presentation, music, dance, or other performing arts shall take place at a special event between the hours of 11 p.m. and 9 a.m., and no activity involving the use of any means of sound amplification shall be permitted between the hours of 11 p.m. and 9 o'clock in the morning. As you heard earlier, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society has applied for a special event permit to hold the 2026 Bike MS Colonial Crossroads event at Chickahominy Riverfront Park on Memorial Day weekend. That's Saturday, May 30th and Sunday, May 31st. As part of the event organizers have requested approval for the announcements and amplified music to be displayed and played at the start and finish line, beginning as early as 7:15 a.m. The location of the speakers would be at the start-finish line arch. You'll see that there on the screen in front of you. Event organizers have committed to directing the speakers towards the river and to Route 5 and limiting the sound to plus or minus 95 decibels at the property line. That's equivalent to everyday items such as a gas-powered lawnmower, electric drill, leaf blower, food processor, or an old hair dryer, depending on which of those you can associate with. Staff recommends approval of the resolution authorizing the request, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Ms. Casey Svanda with the National MS Society is still here as well, should you have any questions
Oh my
for her.
gosh.
Still here.
That's dedication.
Great
Right.
perseverance.
That's right.
Did you have any questions?
I will move the request for amplified sound approval.
Do we have a motion to approve? Ms. Stevens, call the roll, please.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you for your patience. All right, and our next item is, oh, I'm sorry, are we on the, right up here? Sewage system, it's a request for an alternative discharging sewage system at 190 Jolly Pond Road.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, members of the board, Chapter 17 of the County Code, which is a relatively new section of the County Code that the board adopted, outlines the requirements and conditions under which the board may approve an alternative discharging sewage system. I'll reference that as ADSS. An ADSS means any device or system which results in a point source discharge of treated sewage for an individual single-family dwelling with flows less than or equal to 1,000 gallons per day, and which is only permissible when the Virginia Department of Health determines in writing that an existing alternative on-site sewage system serving an existing occupied house has failed and cannot be repaired or replaced, and that the only available means of providing sewage disposal to such the dwelling other than a pump and haul is via one of these ADSS permits. The request before you in your agenda packets and all of the supporting information are from Ms. Haley Logan and Mr. David Logan, current owners of 190 Jolly Pond Road. According to the Logans, the original drain field for this parcel was installed in 1963. System was replaced in 1991 in the same general area due to failure. And in 2020, a third system was installed. This one was located at the rear of the parcel. Unfortunately, this third system is in a current state of failure as well. An ADSS, as defined by the county code, really is an option of last resort. No objections to this request have been raised by either the James City Service Authority or the Stormwater and Resource Protection Division. If approved, several ongoing testing and reporting requirements will be mandated by the county code, including filing with the general manager of the JCSA a copy of the results of all state-mandated testing and inspections no later than 1 week after the results are submitted to VDH, and to repair or replace such system as necessary should such inspections reveal any deficiencies. Also required is the need to provide yearly testing results to the JCSA and to permit VDH and JCSA staff to enter the property to inspect such system and to determine whether such system has been installed, is being operated and maintained in accordance with the permit approvals, and to enforce the conditions associated with the county permit. Failure to conduct this mandatory monitoring or to report mandatory results may result in the revocation of the county permit, which the property owners have acknowledged knowing. Staff recommends approval of the resolution authorizing the request. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, and as you heard earlier, Mr. Logan is the property owner. He's still here with us tonight, as is Mr. Wayne Savage of Soils, Inc., should you have any questions for them.
Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Or
I read up on the system. It's interesting.
Very interesting.
Having come from wells and septics, I like that.
It's very complete.
At least it's an answer.
Very does it.
Otherwise, they can't live there.
what's the board's,
I will move the request for the approval for request for the alternative discharging sewage system.
we have a motion. Mr. Stevens, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. And so, thank you for your patience as well.
Thank you.
Our next board consideration is the Virginia Department of Transportation project number UPC 125628, Route 622, Stewarts Rd, over Branch Diascund Creek Bridge replacement project, resolution of support. So,
Says thank
Mr.
you
Holt,
again very much, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Route 622, which is Stewarts Road, is currently a one-lane undivided road, functionally classified as a local road with a 40-mile-per-hour posted speed limit, and it handles, on average, approximately 269 vehicles per day. The existing roadway width on the bridge is 14 feet from curb to curb, and crash data from the past 5 years shows 0 vehicle crashes. The bridge is at a point where it needs to be replaced. While VDOT's general policy is not to build one-lane bridges, this project proposes to leave the crossing as a one-lane bridge, but widen it from 14 feet wide to 15 feet 8 inches wide from face of guardrail to face of guardrail, with a 12-foot wide travel lane and a 1-foot gravel shoulder will be on each side. Given the location and existing condition of the approaching roadways, replacing the bridge to current VDOT standards may result in a facility that's too large for the context of the area and the need. The local VDOT residency finds that such a reduction represents a good common sense engineering decision, and there is no history of safety concerns. Reducing the width of the replacement bridge from current VDOT standards to the proposed one-lane bridge design does require concurrence from the governing body. Staff recommends approval of the resolution that's been included in your agenda packets. The proposed wider bridge geometry is anticipated to enhance safety compared to existing conditions. Staff has further confirmed that a reduction in the design scope of the project will still meet the needs of the county's fire and police departments. In addition, a reduction in the design scope is expected to have less of an environmental impact and fewer impacts on the existing roadway and area. That concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
One question I got, it was just the one-lane bridge, but you mentioned one-lane road. Essentially, this is essentially a two-way traffic. How much room is there for?
This is an old country road, so yeah, cars are gonna have to slow down when you approach
It's
oncoming.
like the old gravel road with 3 ruts.
It's
Just
not
Yes.
uncommon
Yeah.
for some of
You
these
honk
roads
at the
that are
people.
out.
There's one in Albemarle that goes like this through a tunnel. And
Sure.
you just honk and let
Yeah.
everybody know you're coming, and it's a one lane.
If you haven't been out to Hicks Island, you've got to visit Hicks Island where you go
Yeah.
over the one-lane bridge and
One-lane
through
bridge.
the one-lane tunnel.
That's
I love the picture with the inter-James City County, like
I know, I should have
6
gotten it from the
inches
other
from the
side, but
bridge.
yeah, that's right.
So my main question, I was kind of looking, there's enough alternative routes, because obviously while the repair is being done, this part of the road will not be able to be traveled. Do we have a time frame for that?
I
And
don't-
it looks like there is at least one other option?
There would be.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head the name of the other road, so certainly detour signs and a detour plan will be put in place during construction. That'll be heavily advertised within VDOT, and I don't have a construction timeline with me, but I'd be happy to get that and provide that to the board.
And do we know about storing the vehicles? So we see road projects happen. So like Croker Road, they had to create space for the work vehicles. So I know we have the church right there with a ministry. Do we have any concept? And I don't know if that's more of a
No, that's
VDOT question.
That's usually decided as they get closer.
Okay.
They will work with the hired contractors to establish that staging area.
Because that is a limited geographical
It's
area.
very limited.
Yeah.
What I would imagine with this one, while not closing any individual driveways, in the section of the road that they close and put the active detour in place, that should give sections of the roadway on either side of the bridge. They're gonna end up closing it to through traffic anyway, and the logical place, because there's not really any easy, good places out there to store equipment. They'll probably use the roadway itself, I would imagine, for the section that they end up closing while the detour is in place. Mhm.
Other questions? Okay, the packet has a resolution of support. Anybody like to move that?
That we support the resolution for project number UPC 125628, Stewarts Road.
We have a motion for approval. Mr. Stevens, please call roll.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, our next item is calendar amendment. That calendar amendment is for Ford's Colony HOA Town Hall meeting, April 23rd, 2026.
Mr. Holt, I'm sorry. Mr. Holt's leaving, and I want to ask a question during board, sorry,
Oh,
Mr.
okay.
Chair. Thank you.
April 23rd, 2026 at 6:30 PM at the Ford's Colony Swim and Tennis Club, 165 St. Andrews Drive in Williamsburg, Virginia.
I will move the calendar amendment.
Okay, we have a motion to move the calendar amendment. Any discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Ms. Wainwright?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay.
May I ask Mr. Holt a follow-up question from the previous? So I didn't feel it was appropriate to ask before the motion, but I'm curious why I have a road that was part of VDOT system, and then it was discovered after a citizen inquiry that the road was never accepted into the VDOT system. So we have just put through something that is asked us to not require what VDOT standards are today. So I'm curious if the same thing can be done on a road that has been treated for 40 plus years as though it was in the VDOT system, and then found out that it was not, and the cost to come into the VDOT system is astronomical, plus taking property away from people et cetera. So is there a way to do the same type of thing that was just done here for that?
We can definitely look into that to see what options are available for sure. I will say generally that the standards and design specs and funding priorities and really everything around bridges and structures, as VDOT calls them, is just in a different spot in the state code. It's in a different funding spot and in a different functional area of analysis within VDOT bridges. We just have so many all over the place, and with all of the structural issues, there's just I don't want to oversimplify by saying there's a different set of standards and processes associated with bridges, but that's been generically my experience. But specific to taking in older existing roadways, we're happy to do a deeper dive on that to see if there's something that we could take advantage of that we haven't come across yet. Happy to do that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to board requests and directives. Ms. Wainwright.
Good evening and kudos to everybody still here, who I think is mostly everybody who has to still be here. Just a few events. So the Elwell ribbon cutting after our last board meeting, which several of us attended. It was very neat to celebrate this new, expanding small business in the community. Also went to the JCSA cookout on the 26th with a couple of the other supervisors. I completed VACO budget training. So it's a lot easier to work on a fictitious budget than it is a real budget. I was glad to finish the training to then focus on the real budget. Of course, we had the public budget presentation last Thursday that most of us were at. We're glad you're feeling better, Mr. Eisenhower. And just this afternoon, I met with Sandy Towers with the Williamsburg Regional Library just to ask some questions, get some more in-depth information as we are very intrinsically intertwined with the library system. For Mr. Stevens, one of the requests from one of our community members at the last meeting was a list of open positions. I would also like that. I think that helps us see where we are. I know you said we've filled most of them, but I imagine there are still some out there. And then one of the things that I noticed going through the budget is there's a very small percentage of people who do paperless invoicing, and we're not expecting that to increase. So if we could look into that, would reduce postage, it would reduce printing, but just if we can look into how we might increase the usage of paperless invoicing and bill paying. And then just to our citizens, just to recommend they follow all of the county Facebook pages. It is hard to keep up with everything. We have a lot going on in the county. People obviously are very passionate, especially when we talk about money. But there's often a concept of not knowing what's going on or not feeling like we're listening. And I really just want to encourage people. We have different departments in the county as a whole that does have social media. And that is a pretty good place just to follow and know what's going on in the county. Know when cleanup days are, know when other projects are happening.
Okay. On the school tours, I went to Matoka. That was lovely. The principal showed us all around. It was just Andrea Donner and myself and Kim Huntley. So we went that.
And me.
And you, that's right, you showed up a second, yeah. And that was that was interesting. That's a cute place. I like it. But we found out that their principal is now going over to Christian school. Was it the one
Providence.
on Providence. He's leaving. And then, I guess like a day before, whatever, I went over to War Hill for my tour, and they had changed the time with not letting me know. So I missed that.
Ooh.
But I thought it was interesting there. I met the assistant principal, and I don't know if I should bring this up here or at the school board meeting, but while I was in the office there, in the lobby, a young lady walked in there. She had on pajamas and slippers. So I haven't seen that since Japan, okay? Then another young lady walked in there and she had a tight athletic top. Her whole midriff was bare and she had like working out clothes. So I have asked, there is a dress code. Who's enforcing it? It was just got me going because I think appearances are everything. Okay, then I went to the grocery outlet the day after it opened because I couldn't get there before, and I met the lovely manager and welcomed them here, and the store was doing a pretty brisk business. So I just said, welcome to the community. We like that. I did go to the budget presentation, and the JCSA picnic outside was kind of nice. They had a little barbecue. And not to be really nitpicky, but I've thought of some things where we can save some money in the budget. And this is me. Number one, what does it cost? What did it cost the county to print those big books with the budget for us? With all the color photographs, all the dividers, all of that. I have about 10 of those at home now. So I'd like to know, or I'd like to say, I don't mind black and white. I don't mind thin paper. I don't need a binder. The one that Paul did for JCSA, Doug, and it was much smaller, but it's not the budget. I'm just saying there's ways we can cut back. And another thing, the swag, the umbrellas, these things, all these kind of things we give away. I don't know that we really need to do that. I think we could cut back on that or use up everything we've got and order different things. Things are like the little sticker that goes on the car. Those are really nice. People like those. But I'm just saying, I don't need all the stuff that Scott gave me when I came on. Seriously, I don't need it, and most people don't need it. And I think even though it's little things, it adds up. When you add it up, it can be a couple $100,000 a year. Who knows? Who knows? Just my thought. And I'll shut up. Okay, I'm good.
You all are welcome that I didn't come because to the picnic and stuff, because you wouldn't have wanted me around to infect everybody.
We
So
thank you for that.
it has been a rough couple of weeks with it, but I did attend the one ribbon cutting with you, but before I sort of went missing in action for a little while. But I appreciate everybody concerned about me. So hopefully now we get my wife well too. So
We're just glad you're better.
I don't care about color, but please do not email me a budget. Please keep it in a binder. Thank you very much. I will pay for my own binder if that's an issue. There was a question brought up about 250 efforts before. We've been on social media. They've sent emails. Carla Brittle was on the Hampton Road show. There has been a ton of advertising about Revolutionary Rhythms Weekend. It's increased even more the last month, and there's still tickets available. We'd love to have people come out. April 18th, beginning at 11, I believe, is the family, and that is free out at Jamestown Beach Event Park. We've talked from this dais many times about events for 250. The next event will be Yorktown Sale Weekend in June, but please come out this weekend to James City County. We're kicking it off, and I believe also the Mobile 250 Museum will be there. So it's a great opportunity for learning. Along those same lines, I attended the 250 unrolling of the 250 quilt on Saturday and down in Merchant Square. It was an incredible event. People came from all over the country to see their quilt square that they had made. There were descendants of Paul Revere, descendants of Betsy Ross. They had a stage where they had people that had, everybody had to send in their story of their square with their square. And people were telling the story of what moved them to make their particular square. And it was just really something I want to commend Steve Prince and Visit Williamsburg. Took a lot of effort to put all of that. Anybody that contributed to putting that together, just a huge thank you. It was really neat. It is now on display at the Colonial Williamsburg Visitor Center, and I urge you to go see it. And there were 2 James City County squares in there as well, so it's really neat. Wanted to make just a remark about the helmet. The concern was brought forward to me by several citizens about with the increase in electrified scooters and bikes, and seeing young people without a helmet on those bikes, on those the increase in all the electric buzzing on Monticello, I think was one person. That's how they had come to my attention, talked to me about it. We had a vape shop that was put in a few years ago across from one of our middle schools. And at that time, we had asked that the General Assembly allow us to do an ordinance to not put a vape shop within 1,000 feet of a school, which we have, it's my understanding that that was passed in 2024. So I would like to ask that an ordinance come forward doing that, so we can close that loophole if possible. And then I just wanted to, I'll finish up, but I've gone to some things that I would like to just mention. The Power of Women lunch, we heard from the female Coach E from William and Mary basketball, who gave an excellent presentation, did school visits to Matoka, Clara Bird, and we heard tonight about, why is costs going up. I would urge, first of all, go to the school board meetings, talk to Dr. Keever. He is very open. He is willing to talk to citizens, involve citizens, and I think you will hear about the needs of students and how much they have grown in the last few years, which is contributing to the cost. It's not just the city kids and I think we heard some of that. And I would, since you mentioned that Bobby Knowles is going to Providence, Bobby Knowles, I think, has worked in public education for 30 years. He's retiring and decided to do a second career, and really appreciate the time that Bobby took and Mike Hurley took at Clara Bird, and wish Bobby well as he moves on to his next position. And the Williamsburg Tourism Council, we had a planning session for a strategic plan moving forward. Just a reminder, our meetings are open. If anyone's interested in attending those, please let me know. And then the 5:30 budget, the budget meeting that we had, and I'm glad you are feeling better, Jim. And do want to offer my most sincere condolences to our fire chief, Ryan Ash, who lost his mom. And I'm sure that Mrs. Ash was very proud. She has a wonderful son, wonderful daughter-in-law, and just our sympathies to Ryan and his family. Excuse me. And then the collective bargaining, I've talked a lot about that from here, and we did find out last evening, or this morning actually, that the governor did not sign it, that she has pushed it back to the House with some amendments. And so we'll see what those amendments are unfolding. But it's not quite where where I feel that localities would like it to be. So more of that to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just mention a couple of quick things. On Tuesday of next week, from 4 to 5, I'll be holding a Kingsmill
Saw that.
Town Hall in this room, just to update people on what's happening with the development proposal within Kingsmill, Francis Thacker, and to let them know about some other activities that are going on in the community to help with historic preservation. In addition, I did attend, along with Ms. Larson, the post-legislative briefing
Oh, yes.
of the Chamber of Commerce. She was promoted to chair by the
Constantly.
but I grabbed the crown back at the appropriate time. And on April 30th, the Coalition of High Growth Communities will be meeting at Legacy Hall. We have so far, I think, probably between 75 and 100 registrants, so it should be a good session. Basically, with members of the legislature there to tell us about what we should be doing to try to increase the ability of local government to influence legislative process, and for them to hear a little bit more about the way local governments actually operate. So we're looking forward to that event. In conjunction with VACO, the Virginia Association of Counties, the Virginia Municipal League, the First Cities Coalition, and the Virginia chapter of the American Planning Association. So it's a great group that's all pulling together for this event. And just wanted to take a couple of minutes, and I'm sure I've left out some things that were going on, but there's been, I think, 3 weeks between meetings this time around, so a little bit more activity than normal. But I did want to also mention the sad loss of Ryan Ash's mom, and appreciate very much all of the way in which he represents us in the county. And I know that this is a very difficult time for him, so I hope he feels the support of the county in what his family is dealing with right now. It also reminded me that I just read today a message at the college that one of my constituents who was living in Williamsburg Landing, Mitchell Bird, who appropriately enough was an ornithologist and famed for his help in restoring osprey and eagles and other endangered birds back into the Chesapeake Bay population. Even into his 90s, he was getting into a little one-engine plane and flying around with a pilot to do counts of eagle nests and the like. He passed away at the age of 97, just about 2 weeks ago. And finally, on last week, I attended a prayer walk and vigil for Noah Cheeseman, the 15-year-old student from War Hill High School who was murdered at Lafayette Square. I know that there have been several suspects apprehended in that particular instance, but it was both very tragic. The event was so tragic, and I think we all need to recognize that the challenge we face with so many people feeling angered in one way or another and having the ability to use deadly force when they are feeling that way is something we've got to figure out better than we have. But the other side of it was that community was really coming together to, first of all, ask for more support in confronting those kinds of violent situations and keeping their community safe, and to basically just say that they knew that they have to be more engaged with each other and with the broader community to help us all continue to have a safe and prosperous James City County. So with that, I will pass it off to the County Administrator for his reports.
Chair, members of the board, just a couple items. Ms. Larson talked about our Revolutionary Rhythms weekend, but just to confirm, we do have a concert Friday night, April 17th, Plain White Tees, and then April 18th, Saturday night, Cool and the Gang. And then we also have a drone show that will follow the performance Saturday evening. And so a lot of free events. The concerts are paid events, but the cost seems, I believe, is at least reasonable for folks to be able to get into that, particularly our residents. And certainly it should be a very enjoyable weekend. And the weather, I was hopeful it wouldn't rain. It looks like now I'm hopeful it'll cool off a little bit, but it seems to be sunny and warm for the coming weekend. And then just a notice that our Newtown Tune series that Parks and Rec, in partnership with Culture Fix and Newtown Commercial Association, will start their concert series that begins May 6th and run for 6 weeks. Be behind Legacy Hall on Sullivan Square. And again, more to come on that, but that is coming in May. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, well, with that, I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn for 6:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2026. I don't think I'll be there, but I hope you all have a good time at the Ford's Colony HOA Town Hall meeting.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion. Ms. Stevens, call the roll, please.
Wainwright?
Aye.
Ms. Knoll?
Aye.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Aye.
Ms. Larson?
Aye.
Mr. McGlinnan?
Aye.
Motion carries.